I think John has already found a ride out of here.
I'm only here 2 hours.
8 o'clock, and then...
You 7:30? Can I get out at 7:30?
Sure, absolutely.
I love hanging out with you. This is
DT and Tully will be joining us later in the 7 o'clock hour, and then we'll be on till 9 o'clock on 101.7 The Truth. I think it's important. You know, I'm looking over here at one of our colleagues, Fox 6, and they're packing everything in the little wagon, and they're carrying it away. Remember when we used to have to carry all that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Back in the day. And so times have changed, and so have political parties. We now have where, you know, we may have to put Grandpa in a wagon and kind of roll him out of here. And I think it's unfortunate because everybody has the question, like you brought up before the break. Will Kamala Harris have the chutzpah, I think that's the word I used yesterday, the mashugana, to say, hey, I got this and I can do it. Now, she was on a news conference today. You know, she gave a speech today, and it was a different speech. I watched the entire thing, and the reason it was a different speech is because I found the speech on Fox Business.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought that was pretty interesting that now they're starting to broaden her name, put her in places, and there was no giggling, there was no smiling, it was very, you know, a couple of her words she used and phrases, I'm thinking to myself, millennials don't know what that means.
Yep.
You know, millennials don't know those types of things. But for the most part, I think she's testing the waters to see if there's an open convention, can she swing it?
So the reporting, if you're just joining us, is, and it's just sourced reporting, no confirmation of anything, that Joe Biden will not endorse Kamala Harris, and there will be an open convention. I personally find that hard to believe. I find that very, very hard to believe. But Mark Halperin, a respected journalist, is reporting that. That is according to his sources. So the polling shows that in many battleground states, Kamala Harris polls worse against Donald Trump than Joe Biden, even a diminished Joe Biden.
However, who's her running mate? And that is the unknown X factor, no pun intended, that's going to decide whether or not it's a comparable race, you know, whether or not one can at least pull within a point or two. Because once you get within 2 or 3 points, it's a horse apiece.
This is going to be very interesting to watch. So if it is Kamala Harris and we don't know who her running mate is, which is a big X factor, can Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump?
I say yes, with the right running mate.
Historically, though, the running mate, you know as well as I do, just doesn't matter. When was the last time that a running mate helped a guy at the top of the candidate enough that it made a difference in more than one state?
Barack Hussein Obama. It was imperative they pick somebody that was diametrically opposed so that everybody saw themselves when they looked at the stage, and he won.
I don't think it was his running mate. I don't think that's why he won.
Okay.
He won because he was dynamic. He was charismatic. He was viewed as fresh.
In communities I heard in Chicago, they were looking for themselves. They found that in Joe Biden.
But he was going to win in Illinois. He could literally have a stuffed shirt up there and he would have won Illinois.
But are you saying Illinois is okay?
You know, come on. There's like 3 Republicans in the whole state.
That's true. However, I look at it and I understand the choice of a Joe Biden because he had been in Congress. He had been in the Senate for so long.
Right.
So you've got instant credibility with senators. You've got instant credibility with all the white males around the country who said, well, I don't know this guy, and he wasn't born here, and all the ridiculousness that went along with it. But you also had this young, charismatic African-American who, and I think this was the key, nobody looked at them as being African-American. They looked at him as being a candidate. And between then and now, something shifted. Something in the Republican Party shifted. Something in the Democratic Party shifted. And it was like they woke up one day and said, we're going to go in opposite directions, to the point where we're going to almost tear the fabric of this entire country apart.
I think Barack Obama wins, especially his first term, no matter who his running mate is. I think
he just had it.
Yeah, you saw the crowds.
And it was also Mitt Romney. So.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. A flawed candidate. I don't know. I just don't think historically that the running mate much matters. Okay, so who could she choose that would make up the ground that she's currently shown behind in?
Correct.
Who could she choose? Who's out there that, because there's not a lot of time. It's got to be somebody with name recognition or somebody that, so you look at the list of people, if it is Kamala Harris, who? Does she go the same route? Does she need a white male because she's Kamala Harris? Does she, who?
You've got the same 4 states. And I know we probably got to take a break.
Yeah, we do.
We've got the same 4 states that are battleground states, right? Who from Wisconsin could she call on to be a running mate? Nobody.
It's not going to be that. Our 2 top Democrats are Tammy Baldwin, who won't help her, and right. Tony Evers, who's as old as Joe Biden almost.
Right.
So not Wisconsin. So they're out.
Or it's not going to fly.
Not high enough profile.
Michigan, possibly.
If the governor Whitmer in Michigan, that's possibly an attractive candidate.
Pennsylvania.
I got to be honest. I don't know enough about Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
Is there anybody there with enough name recognition in Pennsylvania?
No. And so the only place you can go is Michigan. She's from California. That might work.
Maybe.
I'm just being the contrarian that I am.
I know you are. I think she gets. I think she gets smoked. I think all the polling data, like I said, is worse than it is for Joe Biden, and we've been talking about Joe Biden's slide.
Right.
And it's worse for Kamala Harris. Now, will it change if she becomes the presumptive nominee? Will it? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really good at the crystal ball, but I don't think so. I think this isn't about the Democrats anymore.
Right.
I think this is about Donald Trump. I think this is about Donald Trump rising up like a phoenix from the ashes with blood on his face. I think this is that he smacked down Joe Biden at the debate, and that wasn't so much about Biden now as it is about that gave him momentum.
Right.
I think this convention, we haven't had tonight yet, has been flawless. It's been a PR machine for Republicans.
True. That is true.
So I think all of this isn't even about Kamala Harris. It isn't about Joe Biden as much now as it's about Donald Trump and what he's been able to do and where he sits.
But we've got one thing that whoever's running against Donald Trump has on their side, and it's the same thing Donald Trump has on his side, and it's time. You've got August, September, and October. Just like we had no idea what was going to happen in those battleground states, and then an assassination attempt. We don't know what's going to happen over these next 12 weeks.
I view it differently. I think we don't have enough time if you're a Democrat. That's not a lot of time. Okay, let's say it happens over the weekend.
Right.
That the change is made. Then we have what? Is it 2.5, 3 weeks before the convention in Chicago, right? It's the middle of August.
That may still get disrupted.
Yep.
Because it may be an open convention.
That's what I was just going to say. So that convention will probably
blow up.
Can you imagine if there's an open convention? Yeah. This is going to be fascinating.
Yes, it is.
I mean, if that actually happens, it's hard for me.
More viewership than this did.
So you've talked to Kamala Harris. I just find the scenario so hard to wrap my head around that he would not endorse Kamala Harris, that he doesn't hand it to her, that he would advocate for an open convention.
Right. You would actually stand up and say, I want a black female, an African-American woman to be my running mate, and then put her in a place to run and then not back her. That makes no sense.
Plus, I see both sides of this. Maybe they want the open convention because the polling data is so bad on Kamala Harris, so they don't think she can win either.
But they also let her go ahead and run if she wants.
Yes.
Okay.
But the flip side of that argument is it looks like more chaos. Are you really going to, now we're going to waste the next 3 weeks if you're a Democrat? And you are going to
jockey for position.
Yeah. You're going to throw it open and say, we're not getting behind anybody. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you in Chicago.
Vote, figure it out. You don't have any superdelegates, so you got to put the work in.
Man, it's going to be fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And this weekend could be the weekend.
I'm buying a lot of popcorn.
Me too. I'm canceling my plans for Sunday. Because Sunday I'm going to be in front of news channels all day. I'm going to be reading everything that I can get my hands on.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm Dr. Ken Harris. He is, what's your name again?
Juan Mercure.
Good one. John McCure.
I'm Mr. Denise Thomas.
Who was here. Wow, there you go. Who's here. Denise Thomas is showing up, and Telly's going to be here a little bit. We're going to end this, and we're going to look at this from a broader perspective by inviting other people in. And when we come back, who knows? Denise might roll in a little earlier.
Hey, let's go into Fiserv Forum when we come back, too. We got folks inside of there.
Absolutely. Go to Fiserv Forum. You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. He's John McCure. We'll be right back.
Wait now or wait a little longer. You may have just increased your lifetime income by tens of thousands of dollars. That's how Social Security can work for you. The longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help make the right decision for your situation. You spent decades paying in. Optimize what comes out. Drake & Associates can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. Claim your free Retirement Ready Toolkit that has guides on Social Security. To get our complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Some of our customers want a glass shower door for the look. Some want it for a better use of their space, while others need a new glass shower door just to be safe. Like a customer we had last month. Her daughter had been hounding her to turn that old bathtub of hers into a walk-in shower. She was afraid her mother might slip when there was no one around to help her. Stepping over that bathtub wall isn't exactly safe, and besides, those old bathtub floors can be kind of slippery too. Installing a new glass shower door is pretty affordable, and not only is it safer, but it also gives your bathroom a great new look. And when you stop in our showroom, you'll see just how many options we have to give you the look you want. This is Stacy Sinks with Les's Glass Service, and glass and mirrors have been our business for over 35 years. So if it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Les's Glass. Les's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
You're never going to believe it.
Why would I not believe it?
John Hoyman has a big idea. Big!
John, our Chief Financial Officer?
Hi, Rick. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Are we in trouble?
No. Everything is great.
Tell them your idea.
18-month special financing for all purchases made in July.
Subject to approved credit, right?
Of course, just ask an associate for details.
That's a year and a half to pay. Can we do that?
We're an employee-owned company. We can do anything we want.
Sarah, are you nervous we can't afford it?
Sarah, this is John, our CFO. If John says we can afford it, we can afford it.
Do you like the idea of 18-month special financing?
I like it.
I like it.
But only for purchases made in July, right?
Right.
I like it.
18-month special financing for all purchases made in July. Only at Kessler's. For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Ken Harris here with John McCure, and there's another young lady who decided to, I guess after her interview with Eric Trump this morning, she decided to grace us with her presence. Denise D.T. Thomas.
I listened to that. I liked it. That was good.
Did you?
That was good. I want more of you, though, and less of the other guy that was doing the interview.
Well, thank
Is there a
you,
way for you to
John.
turn his mic? If I wanted to come in the studio and turn his microphone off so I could just hear you.
But you do understand what that is, right? We're
What?
jealous of his voice.
Jealous of Telly's voice?
Telly's voice.
Telly has an extraordinary,
He does.
like his voice was born for
He
broadcasting.
does. He's got a great voice.
He
He's got a great
does.
presence about him, too.
He does.
I just like you better. That's it.
Oh, thank you, John. I love you.
This
I
is
just
such
don't
a love
love-
fest. Dr. Kent's over there. Like, what are we doing?
And so we're here with Denise Thomas, John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I think Greg Matzik is in the Fiserv Forum.
And Billstead, too. Eric Billstead.
Eric Billstead. They're having a party in there. What's going on, fellas?
Yes, sir. And, nothing really warms up the delegates like a Steely Dan cover, right, Eric Billstead?
Right.
That's doing it, man.
It's
Everybody's
clearly
into
working, yeah.
It is kind of concert here tonight with the idea that Kid Rock. I was here for the opera singers sound check. Kid Rock did a sound check about 4 hours ago. Hulk Hogan is here. I mean, it's just kind of a wild scene that's developing, but it's loud. It's cranked up, man. There's a nice crowd already on the floor, and cheese heads are being waved in the air by the Wisconsin delegation, Texas delegation, kind of waving their cowboy hats, Eric.
And one of the speakers that had just finished up here about 15 minutes ago, Diane Hendricks, you guys know that name, right? Wisconsin native, founder of ABC Supply, worth about, $20 billion. She told the group that if she can do it, being the most successful, richest, self-made businesswoman in the country, that if she can do it, so can you. So that was her message to the crowd today.
All right.
Hey,
and there's a lot of cheese heads being thrown around also.
Are you guys getting the sense in being around there and talking to delegates whether they expect Donald Trump's speech to be serene and calm like we've seen as he's entered the arena, or more feisty, aggressive, which is typical Donald Trump?
John, I was talking with Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson about this, and his feeling is that Donald Trump ending the proceedings tonight would be very similar to the way things kicked off on Monday, and that you'd have this sort of message of unifying at the beginning and at the end, but in between it was sort of ripe for hammering the Biden administration and policies, which we saw a lot of last night, but that it would kind of start soft, Eric, and then end on a softer note.
Right, and one of the things we learned was that he had a speech written, the campaign says, and after what happened on Saturday, he decided, nope, got to redo it. So they tore up that speech, if you will, and started up another one, and this one is said to be more personal. It could have some emotional moments. His family's going to be here. Melania Trump is supposed to be here tonight. So is Ivanka tonight. So his family's here. He's supposed to have a personal speech. So you could see a different side than what we're used to when it comes to Donald Trump.
And that's something that Ron Johnson told me he wanted to see. He said the world doesn't truly know who Donald Trump is. I speak with him frequently, talking about Ron Johnson, saying he's funny, he's engaging. It's impossible not to like Donald Trump if you get to know the real Donald Trump. And he said, I don't want him to be bombastic on stage. I want him to be his authentic self. So we'll see what kind of mood and tone is displayed on stage. But I can tell you this, there's going to be a standing ovation. There's going to be a loud ovation every time he speaks, Eric. It's going to be loud. I would bet that everybody leaving here tonight is going to have sore ab muscles from sitting, standing, right, doing that whole charade.
And the outfits are amazing. There's like Trump capes with lights on them that some people are wearing. There are mini skirts. There are Santa outfits that say Trump on them. There's everything. We have everything at this thing today.
It's a scene. And the floor is packed, John. You asked about that before. It's hard to find red carpet on the floor right now.
And so rumor has it that the speech is about 31 pages, and he's going to take about an hour and a half.
Well,
That's
the campaign
long.
is hoping for it to be shorter than that, around 55 minutes. But it will likely, if you've been to any of these before, they generally go a little bit longer.
If it's going to be an hour and a half, you might need Kid Rock to do an intermission concert just to sort of break it up a little bit. I'm not sure exactly where he's going to play in tonight's proceedings, but John, will make sure we save you a seat so you can get some Kid Rock on.
Yes.
All right. Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas. We appreciate it. Greg Matzik and Eric Bill said we'll check back in with you as the night goes on.
Wow.
Denise, what are you going to be looking for tonight?
Well, we were talking with Eric Trump, son of Donald Trump, this morning on the Truth Be Told with DT and Telly show, and we asked, what should we anticipate as American viewers? What's going to be this new speech that former President Donald Trump is going to be presenting as a result of the assassination attempt? And the short answer is that the focus is going to be unity. So unifying American voters. Now, me personally, I feel as though, former President Donald Trump is going to come out as a president.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to present himself. He's going to have the mindset and the persona, and that's going to be articulated through his remarks. It's not going to be vote for me. It's going to be more as I'm here, I'm a warrior, I'm a fighter, I survived an assassination attempt. And this is where, as you and I both spoke offline, if you are a member or a registered Democrat, right now you are very concerned. And I'll put it to you this way. I said right now the Democratic Party feels like being a Bears fan.
That's not a good feeling.
Right. You want to believe in your team.
That's not a good feeling.
But the continuous, fumbles, incompletes, it's just not looking good. And so I am anticipating a very, I don't want to say premature, but Former President Donald Trump is going to come out on that stage as number 47.
I want to hear detailed information about Saturday. And Eric Hovde, candidate for Senate, told me a couple of hours ago that he believes that Donald Trump will talk in detail about what it was like to be on the ground behind the podium, what it was like to have the bullet whiz by his ear, what it was like to be whisked into the limo, that he will really paint the picture, and this sounds like Donald Trump, of the drama, I thought I was going to die. I mean, he won't use those words, but he will paint the picture of, it'll be a lot of big language leading up to the image of the phoenix rising from the ashes, and he will give us all of that. And I kind of want to hear that. I want to hear what was going through his head when he was laying down there on the ground begging people to put his shoes on his feet.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, John, in terms of what your interest will be, because, again, when we interviewed Eric Trump this morning, he spoke from the lens of a son. He didn't speak as a businessman who is the son of the former president of the United States. He spoke as a son, and he used words like, when I found out that my father had, dodged death, and he talks about his wife, and he talks about his children, which are obviously former President Donald Trump's grandchildren. So to your point, they're going to make it very personal, because, I asked Eric Trump today, what should we anticipate? And as you had mentioned, very personal stories, very personal experiences, that it's going to be a Donald Trump that we, I believe, have never seen before as Americans, and the world is watching. This is, I guess people, we really need to understand, as Milwaukeeans, we are part of U.S. history. This will be in the textbooks. This will be part of, history reflections. This will be a Netflix special for sure. Where you had
and don't forget the movie.
And the movie.
Yep.
There's never ever in the history of this country been whether it's Democrat or Republican national convention 2 days after an attempted assassination for what is to be the candidate of that party.
It is remarkable.
And I think it's important to remember that we've seen throughout the RNC the everyday American.
Yeah, which has worked.
Tonight, we're going to see the everyday Donald Trump.
Wow, that's a great way to put it. And I was walking down the street today. I was walking, I think, on Kilbourne, and I met a couple from Florida who is here, and one of the members of the couple worked for Eric Trump, coincidentally, and he was going to be speaking, and he may be speaking shortly now, because what they're featuring, to Dr. Kent's point, is everyday Americans. Right. And when you think about, what Republicans believe in versus Democrats, oftentimes people associate hardworking Americans, middle class, blue collar with the Democratic Party, where Republicans, fiscally conservative, oftentimes stereotyped as elite. You're going to see a different version that's going to counter those previous stereotypes. And so I'm going to be tuned in. John, it seems like you're very excited.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be on the floor. I'm going to be over there. I'm going to get inside the building. I can't wait to be there. I talked to delegates from Ohio today, and I was interested because they told me usually when you talk to Republican, and this is the hardest core of the hardcore here, these 2,600 people on the floor at Pfizer are not your average Waukesha County Republican. These are people who paid money to be here. These are people that raise money. These are people that would vote for this red carpet if it was the nominee. And I had two of them from Ohio tell me that they don't want to hear the fire and brimstone. Usually they want the red blood. Give it to Joe Biden. Biden's a bum. They want to hear a softer, calmer Donald Trump. And so it'll be interesting to see if that's what they get tonight. True.
And why would they? From a strategic standpoint, why attack or go after President Joe Biden when right now, like I said, I've seen more Republicans skipping down Kilbourne State, Wisconsin, than I've ever seen.
Well, that's for 5 days. Donald Trump hasn't attacked Joe Biden.
Exactly.
He hasn't had to. Get out of his way. Let Biden just get out of Biden's way. Just let Biden shuffle around if you're a Republican.
But if you think about it, what utility are you going to get by attacking an old man who's clearly sick,
right?
Quote unquote, down on his luck.
Right.
And near the end of his life and term. For you to do that would be heartless.
It would be. And, it's interesting, Dr. Ken and John, is that tonight you are going to have a number of registered Democrats, delegates, lifetime Democrats that for the first time are going to be tuning in to further understand who is what could possibly be our next 47th president, who is this new Trump, who was victorious, who, looked as a patriotic warrior, on Saturday. And so, again, if I were a member of the Democratic National Convention or the Democratic Party, I would be in a Zoom right now. Nobody's sleeping, nobody's eating, no one's using the restroom. We got a lot of work to do because they've got 3.5 weeks, John and Dr. Ken, to come up with who is going to be the Democratic candidate during the Democratic National Convention down the street in Chicago, August 15th.
I love your point because a Wisconsin politician who you would all know, but I can't name because it was only on background, said, I hope the president tonight is more presidential. The former president, excuse me. He said, I hope the former president tonight is more presidential than pompous. And he said, we know he can be really pompous. We hope that he takes the high road tonight.
Absolutely.
I just left Pfizer Forum. Our director of content, The Truth, Kyle Wallace, he was like, hey, you should go there and check it out. I said, you know what, I will. And, again, the synergy in the room, John and Dr. Ken, is very victorious.
Is it packed already?
It's getting there. Now, on the floor, it's packed. But there are obviously vendors. I mean, it is like super Trump Mart.
Yeah.
T-shirts, hats.
Yes, coffee cups.
Anything.
Bobbleheads are everywhere.
Step and repeats, backdrops. This is truly a Republican National Convention. And again, the synergy is just people are excited. And they have pretty much counted this as a win.
When we come back from the break, I want to know, what are your thoughts and what have you heard in relation to how Democrats are feeling? I can't imagine they're feeling really good right now.
They're feeling like Bears fans.
Touche.
If I packed and bought a ticket and I'm a delegate and I'm going to Chicago, how do I overcome the last 3 or 4 days?
You see if the ticket's refundable.
Yeah.
Sean, don't make me laugh. I told you I had that burger.
Oh yeah, you're not feeling good. Sorry.
Well, I'm gonna let them talk. We're gonna take a break. Impact 2024 inside the RNC. Denise Thomas, John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be right back.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Here's a penny for your thoughts. There's about 11,000 tire-related crashes every year.
Mostly due to driving around on underinflated, beat-up, worn-out tires with low tread.
A couple of clicks at richlawns.com will get you scheduled for a free tire tread test.
But if you're pressed for time, there's an old trick we use in the tire industry that'll tell you if you need tires.
And that's free, too.
My dad showed me, who learned it from his dad, who learned it from someone else way back in 1964.
Ah, yes. The old penny test.
Yep, just place a penny head first,
as in upside down,
into the groove of your tire. Now, if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, you're due for tires.
And hey, if the free penny test frazzles you, book an appointment at richlawns.com.
If your tires are good,
no harm, no foul, because it won't cost you a penny. Be safe, buckle up, and hang. Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're
due for service.
Such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Loyal Family Renovations and Abbey Windows. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Join an unforgettable weekend of summer fun when the Brewers play the Marlins July 26th through the 28th. Be here for Yacht Rock Night on Friday and a Hawaiian shirt giveaway Saturday. Get your seats at brewers.com.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Wholesale mulch? No problem. We deliver to residential or wholesale accounts, and we can supply you with whatever volume of the highest quality mulch you need. Nobody around here has more mulch than Erickson's. We'll deliver you a 1-yard pickup truck load all the way up to 100 yards in a walking floor trailer. And if you just need a little bit, swing by and we'll fill up a 5-gallon bucket or two. It's the best mulch you'll find. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our decorative stone is available by the handful for pickup, all the way up to 24-ton load deliveries. And our stone is superlative. We scour the countryside, countrywide, from Arizona to the Carolinas. We search pretty much the whole U.S. of A. to find you easily the best stone selection in southeastern Wisconsin. See a rainbow of decorative stone colors to match any exterior decor. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Have you been to the Hounds and Tap yet? In Menominee Falls, this state-of-the-art facility and the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. Grab a drink at the indoor-outdoor tavern, let your dogs hang out. You can even book professional grooming services, from pedicures to full spa treatments. Every day is a play day at the Hounds and Tap. Hang out with your dog and others, or drop your dog off for doggy daycare or doggy boarding services. Check out thehoundsandtap.com. That's thehoundsandtap.com.
It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Get sale discounts store-wide all month long. What a great time to shop for all of your Christmas needs. Get your holiday decor and so much more, along with all the great bargains we always have for you. It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
You're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Welcome back. Dr. Ken Harris, John Mercure, Denise Thomas with you as we bring you up to the Donald Trump speech, which is scheduled to take place in about 2.5 hours or so here, and you will hear it here on WTMJ. The discussion in the room is the speech tonight, Joe Biden's future, where we're at. Should we just do this?
Let's just do it, John.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Come on, Dr. Ken. Let's
I kept thinking about the conversation.
So Kyle Wallace, who's on a sports station, by the way.
Too late.
He says that America's not ready for a female president, and I completely 1,000% disagree. I think that's not the case. I think we are. I think we're ready for a decent candidate, and we just don't have a good candidate.
Wait a minute. We're ready for a decent candidate, but we have Joe Biden and Donald Trump as the two candidates.
And they're awful.
How can we be ready for a decent candidate, and these are the two candidates that America chose? We can be mad about Joe Biden and his age and how elderly he is and how he's looking, and he was exposed during the debate, but at the end of the day, when people went to go cast their ballots during the spring primaries, they voted for Joe Biden.
Role of money in politics. The power of the incumbency. The long election cycle. Those are the things that we have got to get rid of.
I think we should also address this elephant in the room. So during the break, Dr. Ken, John, Kyle, and I were going back and forth saying, well, who should be the Democratic?
Right, who's a good candidate?
And we couldn't think of one. And I said, if we can't, as intellectual and as engrossed as we are in news, politics, if we're struggling to identify someone who would be capable, or even maybe two people, what do you think's happening in D.C. right now? They are struggling just as much as we are.
833-212-1017. Can you text me who that's Democrat that could run in Joe Biden's place? Because 4 intelligent, college educated with 1, 2, 3, 4, like 8 or 9 degrees between all of us can't come up with what.
So let's go back to the question at the beginning of the segment and ask the only woman who's sitting at the table. Is America ready for a female president? Kyle says no. I say yes.
I say yes with conditions.
That's exactly so.
Conditions.
Let me underscore. Dr. Ken. Here's the thing, because now let me just hear me out here. The history of this country has programmed or conditioned Americans to see straight white men as the qualified leaders of this country. So think about it. If day after day of your life, when you see what a leader looks like, if you've only seen, with the exception of President Barack Obama, straight white men being what is identified as capable leaders, to the point where you have right now, and these are facts, you have a convicted felon, and then you have someone who, as Kyle had mentioned before, for me, it was over after the debate, John.
Me too.
It was over. And so the thing is that what this country will have to do, are women capable of being the president? Absolutely. We run this country.
But are we ready? Kyle believes they're capable.
But the
I'm
thing
putting
is,
words in his mouth now, but are we ready? Is America in the position?
We will only be ready once this country decides to change the way that we speak about women in leadership. For example, right now there's an investigation within the Secret Service. Did they slip? Did they do their job? Why was President Trump in line of fire? Why did the Secret Service get that? It was too so much. They said, you know what? Look at DE&I. If they didn't have female Secret Service officers, this would have never happened. And that right there lets you know that the country is not ready.
That's awful.
But the country is not ready is because we are not demonstrating women in those roles. You don't see women every day. You have a vice president who's a woman and who's a woman of color, but you didn't see her making decisions. I'm sure she's probably the president right now. We just don't see her.
But the vice president never makes decisions. We have this discussion every time there's a vice president. The running joke is they attend state funerals.
Dick Cheney
and they do
made
nothing.
all the decisions in the Bush administration. Let me tell you that right now. Dick Cheney was the president.
Is he still alive?
He is.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's not here either, is he?
He should be running for president. He is not here.
Yeah, he was the president. Let me be clear for all the Texans out there. No, it wasn't Bush. It was Dick Cheney, and that was actually the negotiation. I will be your vice president, but I won't be the typical vice president. I will have authority. I don't think Kamala Harris has had that conversation with President Biden, but I do believe, based on the recent months, she's had to step in and make some decisions for President Biden. But going back to the original question, women are capable. The country is not ready. I will agree with Kyle, not because women aren't capable, because we just haven't been conditioned to receive women in that capacity.
But this is the same discussion we have before Barack Obama became elected. America's not ready for a black president.
That's what everybody said.
America will never have a black president. They're not ready for a black president. And then there was a good candidate. There was the right candidate.
But let me say this.
And we were ready.
Going back to Kyle's point, when people had to make the decision between a black man or a white woman, what did they choose? A man.
Well, you can't elect both. You got to choose a black man or a white woman. Those were the choices.
The male still superseded.
Right, but my point was,
but I don't think that's because she was a woman. You got to understand her reputation and her.
I'm very familiar.
It's terrible.
I'm very familiar.
Like, people literally said, "We don't want her." I knew people who were who voted Democrat just so they could vote against her.
But we're talking about this as if who's another woman that was close? Has there been another woman that's been close?
Eric Hovde, by the way, and Donald Trump both have just been shown on the big screen. Hey, Donald Trump, one of the questions was, will he have the big Band-Aid? I think it's gotten even bigger. He has a bandage on his ear. If that's possible, it's bigger than the other two nights, and he has entered the arena at Fiserv Forum, a bright red tie, a blue suit, pumping the fist.
And he looks healthy.
Next Thursday, it'll be an elephant ear. It'll just be
it's huge.
He started a trend. Like, you see people here wearing like little pillows on their ear.
Delegates in the hall I saw yesterday that had the bandages on their ear.
Let me see. Kyle Wallace, Denise Thomas, John McCure. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I think Telly's going to show up. We're just going to have a barn burner here.
Did anyone text you about a capable Democratic?
No, they did not.
Oh, my goodness.
No, they did not.
So I did some research. Shout out.
What do you got?
When
we come back, take a break? Yeah, I got to take a break.
We'll take a break. We'll have news, and then we're going to hear from Kyle Wallace, who's going to tell us he did research. Now, KYLE, call Kyle Wallace. I don't want. You're listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on 620 WTMJ and 101.7 The Truth. We'll be right back after the news.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 6-pack 0.5-liter bottle or 7.5-ounce mini can selected varieties Coke products, 4 for $17. 48 ounces selected varieties Cedar Crust ice cream, $3.99. 4 to 12 count or 16-ounce selected varieties Halo Top ice cream or bars, $3.99. 45-ounce tub Imperial spread, $3.99.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
Welcome to Staples, young man.
Tomorrow's my big day.
Big day?
First grade.
Aw, well, Staples has crayons, markers, glue.
I need a laptop.
Oh, yeah, sure. With Staples Hot Deals, you can save up to $300 on select PCs for school.
Wait. The finances are Mom's department.
Right.
I'm looking for performance, like a Core i7 processor.
Boy, first grade has really changed.
Tell me about it.
Save big on tech for school with super low Staples Hot Deals. Right now, get up to $300 off select PCs at Staples. Ends 8/24.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Gorgeous new roofs, showstopper siding, or classic brick and stonework. How about modern windows and regal doors that'll make your chin hit the floor? To a lot of people, having these things can really make them enjoy where they live. It makes them proud. But there's always one thing standing in the way. How do I make that happen? At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have excellent financing options for most people in most situations. 12 months, no interest, no payments, and exceptional rates for long-term loans that will beat your bank with no additional fees or hidden costs. You can go to SemperFiRoofing.com to apply for your pre-approval today. We want to make any project affordable to almost any person, and we've gone out of our way to find partners that can help make it happen for you. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Ask about our finance options.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Abby with Abby Windows here. If I had $1 for every time customers said, all windows look the same, just give me a price. Well, if that's the case, then you haven't seen ours yet. You're right. Most windows have welds that are ugly, jagged, and look all stitched up, similar to wearing your shirt inside out. I call them Frankenstein windows. If you want a clean, seamless miter that's not inside out, enter our fine line weld technology. Trust me, you'll believe it once you see it. For the best looking window on the market, call Abby Windows today. And if somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
It's Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Rewards Member Appreciation Event. While we offer unbeatable deals every day, now through July 31st, we're showing extra appreciation to our rewards members with exclusive deals. Like $100 instant savings on 4 Michelin, BF Goodrich, or Uniroyal tires. Rewards members get an extra $25 instant savings on any set of 4. 10% off assorted brake pads, shocks, and struts. Rewards members save 15%. Not a rewards member? Sign up today. Don't miss our Rewards Member Appreciation Event going on now at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine. to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. Keep it tuned here for the most in-depth coverage of every angle of the RNC. This is Decision Wisconsin, presented by Pasternak and Zergabel. We are your central hub for all things RNC. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 7:01, it's 69 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 61. Friday, sunny skies, a high of 78. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Jessica Gatso. We're just 2 hours away from former President Donald Trump giving his nomination acceptance speech on this final day of the RNC in Milwaukee. WTMJ's Eric Bilstad is live at Pfizer Forum as we speak.
Jessica, it's been high energy and it's been loud on this final night of the RNC. Just moments ago, former President Donald Trump was announced, walked into the arena with great applause. As you said, 2 hours from now, he will accept the GOP nomination for the third straight convention. Now, we're told the speech should be about an hour long. We'll see if it is actually an hour long, if not longer. It was rewritten, the campaign says, after the assassination attempt on Saturday. Now, as for the crowd, it's standing room only with the Wisconsin delegation wearing cheese heads on the floor. The upper deck's filling in quite nicely now as this program continues. It's going to include a speech from Eric Trump later on and a performance from Kid Rock. Live from the Republican National Convention at Pfizer Forum, Eric Bilstad, WTMJ News.
And you can hear former President Trump's speech live here on WTMJ at 9 o'clock. Among the topics Trump could address when he accepts the nomination is illegal immigration. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tells WTMJ Wisconsin can learn from his policies on the issue.
There are laws that exist that require the president to deny illegal entry, to detain illegal immigrants, and to build border barriers. And that's exactly what the state of Texas is doing. And that's exactly why illegal immigration into our state has declined by 74%, while in other states it's been increasing.
In March, the U.S. Court of Appeals blocked a Texas law making it a crime for migrants to enter the state by crossing the U.S.-Mexico border without authorization. President Biden continues to face mounting pressure from Democratic lawmakers on dropping out of the race. APC's chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl with the latest.
There's been a clear change. The president, I am told by multiple people close to him, is listening to the arguments of Democrats who say that he cannot win and that he should get out of the race. That said, two members of the president's inner circle, people very close to Joe Biden, tell us that he is not there yet. In fact, one person close to the president who spoke to him tells us that he plans to be back at the White House and back on the campaign trail by next week as soon as he recovers from COVID.
ABC News also says President Biden is taking a look at his vice president's polling numbers, making Milwaukee a healthy city amid a national security event.
Milwaukee County Chief Health Policy Advisor Dr. Ben Weston tells Wisconsin's Midday News they met visitors where they are, creating an impromptu urgent care inside the security zone.
We can really triage folks rather than bringing them into emergency rooms and really affecting the community in that way as well.
They also considered a seasonal increase in COVID-19 cases, but Dr. Weston says he's not concerned.
Especially when you look at the most important number, which is hospitalizations. They're up a tick, but relative to what we've seen in the past, we are still at quite low levels.
Jack Grau, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 7:04.
This report is sponsored by the Wisconsin State Fair, presented by U.S. Cellular, August 1st through the 11th.
The Wisconsin State Fair is almost here. Are you ready for it? Snag your discounted admission tickets and more by July 26th. Don't forget your fair favorites like bargain books, cream puffs, Spin City Ride and game tickets, and the Wonder Fair wheel. Time's running out faster than a racing pig, so start planning your day. Feel good at the Wisconsin State Fair, presented by U.S. Cellular, August 1st through 11th.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Emergency service 24/7. Quality Heating has 25 trucks ready to work around the clock to get out there quickly to solve your heating or AC problem. So when that system goes on the fritz and you want to avoid that sweaty summer heat or bypass the fear of frozen feet, the man in the red van can't be beat when it comes to prompt, reliable service. Call Quality Heating for any emergency HVAC need.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
There's a reason why we install Armstrong Air Pro Series systems. When your reputation is on the line, you pick the brand you can trust. It's like our employees. You pick the best to preserve your good name. A guy like me that's been working on furnaces and AC systems for over half my life. I got an eye for the good stuff. And Armstrong Air Pro Series systems fit the bill. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you need a good crew installing a system you can rely on, see the man in the red van.
Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gerber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers begin the second half of their season, Saturday night. The team squares off against the Twins for the first of 2 games at Target Field. The Bucks taking on the Suns as the NBA Summer League continues from Las Vegas. Milwaukee coming off a big loss to the Clippers. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving. Time saver traffic. Roads are looking mostly clear this evening. Just one incident to look out for on 41 894 East at the ramp from 60th Street. Looks like the right shoulder is blocked there. And taking a look at your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, mostly clear skies, a low of 61. Friday, all sunshine, a high of 78. On Saturday, still mostly sunny, a high of 81. Sunday, partly cloudy and a little humid. We've got a slight chance for showers or storms, a high of 82. On Monday, still partly cloudy and humid, another chance for showers and storms, a high of 80. Right now in Madison, it's 74 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 75. In Waukesha, it's 73. And in Milwaukee, it's 69 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatso, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 7:07.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. This is Impact 2024, inside the RNC, broadcasting live from Media Row. Here are your hosts, Dr. Ken Harris and John McCure.
Dr. Ken Harris here with John McCure, Denise Thomas, and Kyle Wallace. Every now and then when he's, on talking about women.
Well, he's a manager, so he's got other stuff he's got to do.
He's got to do. So
he's got paperwork he's doing over there.
So I've got a far out thing and question I want to ask. I know it might, okay. So in this instance, the United States, if they had a parliament like Great Britain, in other words, is our system causing the issues we're having with trying to figure out the Biden and the running and all that? Because in Great Britain, campaign is 6 weeks long, you vote and you're done. Literally, you move out that day and the other person moves in.
Right.
Done.
And in Switzerland, I learned when I visited in January, they have like a similar to a parliament.
Right.
And they rotate.
Right.
So they have like 4 women, I think it's 6 men, 4 women, so it's a total of 10, and they rotate every 3 to 4 years. So that way everybody has an opportunity to serve and to lead, whereas in America, it's still, again, a country where it has to be an older, straight white man to be eligible.
I don't want everybody to have the opportunity to lead. I want that if you have the best ideas and you present the best opportunities for people, you get chosen to lead. What if your group has a bunch of knuckleheads in it and you automatically get a chance to lead?
John, you should not be talking about the Democratic Party.
He's talking about Bears fans.
Oh, okay.
Right, same difference.
Same thing?
Don't you think it's coincidental, though, that it's in Chicago?
Isn't it?
That is hilarious.
Isn't that hilarious?
Well, and they're both going through a rebuilding process,
Kyle,
the Bears
you have
and the Democratic
no
Party.
room to say anything because you are biased.
I'm gonna just
You're
keep
a Packers
my
fan.
I'm gonna keep my hat on, keep my head down. I'll let y'all talk.
That is interesting thinking about the system. I think it is too long. It's too long, and money is too much at the heart of it. Yeah. But the guys that make the rules about how long the campaign season could be and campaign finance legislation will never vote to change it because it's self-serving. But it needs to change.
Do we know how much money the Trump campaign has raised to date? It's got to be close to $1 billion. I'm just kidding. What is it like?
Since the shooting, they said in small donations they raised about $10.5 million.
And
I heard that this morning on the business channel.
And when he was first found guilty, what was it, like $40 million in one day?
It was like 40 or 60
in
million
4 days
in
or something.
day.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to make $7 million when he sells off pieces of that bandage he's wearing on his ear.
Yeah.
He's going to cut that in little pieces
John,
and sell it.
Go to Pfizer Forum. It is literally Trump Mart. Super Trump Mart. You can get anything. You can get a loaf of bread with Donald Trump's face on the packaging. I'm not joking.
I made a pancake this morning. It kind of looked like Trump. I was trying to figure out if that was a sign or not.
Well, they are serving
John,
Trump pancakes across the street.
The big square you had on it that looked like a bandage, that was actually the pancake. Like, I don't know.
I mean, in all seriousness, and I'm not one to say it's over until it's actually over. But it's over. It's over. And the Democratic Party, they failed. And if you really want me to go there, Dr. Ken and John, just be complete with the fact that the election, it's over. You need to start coming up with the pipeline of Democratic candidates that can win for 2000, that would be 2020, 28. That's what y'all should be doing right now. Because as far as 2024, it's over.
Let's scratch women.
Huh?
Who do you know that can
like
run?
What?
Well, right. Let's scratch women for now. Who do you know
in general?
Can run in general.
Okay.
To be the next president of the United States from the Democratic Party.
We don't need to know who that is right now, though.
No. Who's in the bullpen? Who am I going to put in the bullpen?
Okay. Well, I'll answer it this way.
Okay.
So there are, and I know you know probably John or Dr. Ken. There's a formal program.
Correct.
Where they, identify high potential, young, innovative candidates that they will, groom to be. Matter of fact, I'll give you a prime example, and he was one of the best presidents in U.S. history, Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson was a part of that program because I think he was under Roosevelt's mentorship.
I thought I heard something. You said he was one of the best presidents in U.S. history?
For me, yes. And Dr. Ken and I have had many debates. He is one of my top. He's one of my top 5.
Why?
Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, Fair Housing Act,
Vietnam War,
and didn't give it any money. Didn't put a dime into civil rights.
Are we going to have this debate today?
No,
again,
I'm not. I'm
Me either. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to have it either.
Okay, going back to your original question. Actually, it's a good question because the American people, we don't have an answer that are for the Democratic Party. We don't have an answer, and that's why all of us were struggling, and that's a problem. The Democratic Party has failed, and as someone who has traditionally voted a certain way, I can say that they failed. The Democratic Party has failed this country. They need to go back to the drawing board and get prepared for 2028. And as far as I'm concerned, tonight is going to be more of a victory speech than it will be an acceptance of the GOP nomination.
All right. Denise Thomas, John McCure, and me, Dr. Ken Harris. You are listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. We'll be right back.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents. And the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At Accunet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's ACCUNET.com.
As you age, you start noticing pain in your joints that didn't used to be there. But you don't have to live in pain. When joint pain becomes a reality, schedule your free pain evaluation with Rejuvenex. We'll find where your pain lives and inject powerful, FDA-approved medicines that reduce inflammation and pain. while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees, with some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. While treatments like stem cells can cost close to $10,000 per joint, at Rejuvenex, the cost for your injection can be as low as $65, and almost all major insurance plans cover our treatments, so you may not have to pay anything at all. Call us now to schedule your free pain evaluation, because I'm pretty sure we can help you. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I wish you were here for the off-air discussion and comment.
It is the best discussion.
It's the best. Or
after hours. We should do
after hours.
RNC
Yes.
Impact after hours.
And then switch over to YouTube.
Y'all need Telly to join, because I'm telling you, people that know Telly Hughes as the sports broadcaster, they don't know the side that I get every day. He is one of the most hilarious individuals. He needs to be a professional stand-up comedian. So stay tuned in, because when Telly joins us, he got that sports coat on. He's gonna be Telly Hughes. See, I get the funny Telly, like tears coming down my face.
Hey, let's go inside Fiserv.
Yeah, let's go.
Can we do that, producer Brandon? We've got a couple guys standing by inside Fiserv for him.
Greg Matzik and Eric Billstadt.
Fellas, what's happening
what's up,
right
fellas?
now?
How you doing?
Hey.
We just had a video board message from Donald Trump talking about his hope and quest for a secure election. What I did notice about that, Eric, is that was obviously done well over a week ago because there was no bandage, there was no cover-up on Donald Trump's ear.
No bandage in that video, you're correct.
And as you mentioned, John, we talked about the size of the bandage. It kind of looks like Mike Lindell made a mini My Pillow for it, and that's kind of what it looks like on his ear right now.
So, guys, what we're seeing is it's the standing room only on the floor right now. It's a sea of delegates and supporters that are down there. Some guests who have also been allowed to walk down there as well. You can still see the cheeseheads from the Wisconsin contingent. Jason Aldean, who is singing later on, is in the presidential family suite. He and his wife are in there. They were sitting right next to the president at one point. So he is here. We heard from Diane Hendricks earlier, of Wisconsin native. We've heard from a couple of other supporters and some average Americans, if you will, as they call it, as the programming continues.
Yeah, they keep sprinkling in the everyday heroes, which we spoke about last night, John, and you were in the building for one of the most impactful everyday heroes, the 98-year-old World War II veteran William Peckrell from Wisconsin, who said, with Donald Trump watching, if Donald Trump is president, I'm going to re-enlist. I'm going back to the Army or the Marines or wherever he's going to fight for. That was a really impactful moment. So I'd say the impact of the everyday heroes has been mixed, but the ones that have hit, I think, really have hit, John.
And I'm told that Kid Rock will be performing a new song tonight. When Kid Rock comes out here, this might be...
Who wants the new music? Play the hits.
I think it might be election related. I think it might be election related. If you watch his sound check a little bit, just look for the Kid Rock sound check on X. You might have a hint for what he's going to play tonight. I'm not sure exactly when he is going to take the stage, but yes, this is part RNC and part rock concert, right? I mean, there's music happening in between speakers. You got a great house band, for lack of a better term. And then Kid Rock is going to be here tonight, Jason Aldean, as you mentioned. So it really is kind of a unique setting.
And as far as the crowd goes, Greg, what would you comp this now? If we were talking Bucks game, where are we right now as this crowd fills up?
Okay, so I would say we are middle of the first quarter when some of the people in the BMO Club have not yet made it out from getting their beer.
Yeah.
And they sit in the really nice seats, right? But the upper level's full, like we're ready to rock. It's already tipped off, and the game is probably first time out. Giannis probably making his first break.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's very close. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He is Greg Matzik. He is Eric Billstead. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
You bet, guys. You bet.
So speaking right now, Alina Habba, you saw her on TV all the time. She's the one who usually looks like she's a stone face on Mount Rushmore, standing behind Donald Trump at all these legal proceedings. She's got a big smile on her face tonight. She's not looking like she usually does when she's in a courtroom.
All right.
But she is speaking. I mean, the list of people is interesting. Then after her, coming up, we're going to take a break here, but is Tucker Carlson, former Fox News guy. He is scheduled to be here as well. We'll be right back with continuing coverage on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. Hey, restaurant prices are soaring, but not at the Mine Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Every Thursday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza for free. So don't even think about turning that oven on today. Enjoy a free pizza at the Mine Chef. Buy one pizza, get one free. Buy 5, get 5 free pizzas. Any size, any quantity. Hey, coaches, bring in your soccer and baseball team today for free pizza. Your players will love that huge game room. It's super affordable. Team bonding, it's great stuff. Bring in pizza today for your hardworking employees. Order now, pick up your free pizza shortly. They're going to appreciate you. Don't cook, take your family to the cool and comfortable Mine Shaft for free pizza. The Mine Shaft, it's right there in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh. Buy one pizza today. Get one free. Just walk on in. It's big food. It's big fun. It's big value. And the Friday fish fry is all you can eat. Just $6.99. Wow. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
The new fractured boulders we now have in stock are really nice. They're squarer and more rectangular in shape, and they're great for building dry-laid retaining walls. They're much easier to deal with, lock together nicely, and you get less gaps. No wet mortar needed. And we've stocked a multitude of colors. You can use them as an accent item to add character to your dry river or creek beds, too. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our organic mulch is comprised of all trees. Most mulch is made from ground-up pallets, and you don't know what might have been spilled on those pallets. Could be chemicals or who knows what. But not our mulch, we're recycling trees. Many species of hardwoods. Cedar, hemlock, light brown, dark brown, mocha, black, red, gold, and caramel. 7 colors to choose from means a mulch to match any exterior. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris, and we're here with John Mercure and Denise Thomas. Kyle is doing the managerial thing, and Telly is giving pointers to our engineer about
such an art. You are illustrating everything. I love that about you, Dr. Ken.
We have to. We've got a producer here that's just saying, please, I want to stay on my phone, so please don't break anything, and just,
Does anybody else think this is weird? That it's the night that the president accepts the nomination, the former president, and his criminal defense attorney has a prime spot at the podium.
Yeah, it is.
This is just weird. This is just really
interesting,
weird.
This is definitely a unique presidential election for so many different reasons.
So Paul Ryan's not there. George W. Bush
Not there.
Not there. Mike Pence's VP is not there, but his criminal defense attorney is at the podium right now giving a speech.
How do you feel about that, John?
I just think it's odd. Just an observation. I think it's odd.
I think it's odd that President Biden just spoke in front of 10,000 black people at the NAACP, and then the next day, he got COVID. Hope it was worth it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being at a convention where the President of the United States is the keynote speaker, and during President Biden's remarks to a predominantly black audience, he talked about black jobs. So if you recall, during the presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden, in reference to the immigrants, the illegal immigrants that are coming in to the U.S., former President Trump basically alluded that they're taking black jobs, Hispanic jobs. So, of course, there was major response in terms of, well, what does that mean? What is a black job? Now, as a communications coach, I wasn't defending necessarily former President Donald Trump, but I said I understood what he was saying, because if you look at the stats, the majority of hospitality industry, hotel industry, service industry positions predominantly are filled by people of color in this country. That's a fact. And the delivery could have been more healthier. But then President Biden says in the speech, you want to know what a black job is? The Vice President of the United States. And I was just like, can we please just stop? Just cut the mic. Because there's, in this country, we don't need to classify jobs based on race. And then for President Biden to think that he was going to change the perception, the narrative by saying, you know what a black job is? Being vice president. I said, we've already had a black president. Okay, so.
And it ain't you.
And so, and then to leave, and then the White House announces that President Biden tested positive for COVID-19. To your earlier point, it's just weird. This is a very weird presidential election.
But he didn't come in contact with all those 10,000 people.
It's not a good look.
So somebody on your detail, probably should have had Trump's detail that day. Somebody around gave you COVID there.
I got to see the test. I got to see
John.
He does not have COVID.
You're in conspiracy land.
He does not have COVID. First, he comes out and says the only way I'd get out is if God Almighty comes down and tells me, or if there's a medical situation that arose. Oh, I got COVID. What do you know?
And trust me, the Democratic Party, they tried to get God on line one. They were like, can we get God?
And when they couldn't get him on line one, they got Nancy Pelosi with a syringe, and she stabbed him in the shoulder with COVID inside that syringe. So if he does have it, they got to take that syringe out of her backpack.
He does not. I'm agree with you, John, as I always do. But seriously, I do not believe that President Biden tested positive for COVID-19.
Let's see the test.
I definitely feel it was a conversation like this. Mr. President, good morning.
No, it wasn't.
You have COVID.
Mr. President, wake up.
And he said, I wasn't even tested. They said, you have COVID. Trust us.
You have it.
Just
trust us. You have COVID.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then he shuffled into the bathroom.
I'm laughing at Kyle Wallace's face. But, yes, it's you have COVID, Mr. President.
Okay. Does Jill know? Does Jill know?
We look, you have COVID.
You're going to Delaware. The helicopter's out on the lawn.
Yes.
Yep.
Step one, step two.
Wow. I hope we have to take a break.
Listen, as hard as it is to even entertain this conversation, how do you think it is as a broadcasting journalist? Think about it. We at this point in the game, approximately 4 or 5 months shy of November 5th.
Yep.
The day that Americans will go in and vote for the 47th president of the United States. In the normal situation, John and Dr. Ken, we would be talking about the polls. We'd be talking about, hey, next month the Democrats, they're going to have their week. And, these are the things that they're focused. We're having a conversation about our current president testing positive for COVID-19, as well as people in his cabinet, people surrounding him, top Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House, President Barack Obama, close friend, buddy, all three saying it's over.
It's over. So Democrats think they can win on abortion. They think they can win on education. They can't win on any of those issues, to your point, Denise, if the issue we're talking about is whether or not there's going to be an open convention and Joe Biden really has COVID. We're having a conversation about whether he really
That's the
has
conversation
COVID.
We're having.
We're not talking policy. We're not even talking about the convention.
And that's the lack of trust that people have in the political system today.
Yep.
That we don't even believe the White House communications director telling the country something that they should know constitutionally, right? You need to know if your president is sick, all those things.
Yep.
We don't believe that.
What really frustrates me, Dr. Ken, is the number of commentators, political correspondents, political experts, strategists that had the nerve, and you and I had this conversation. I was so infuriated, John, when people were saying it was just a debate. Calm down. Give it a week. People, they still believe in President Biden, and Dr. Ken will co-sign. I was like, what was that?
Yep.
Because it wasn't as if both presidential candidates were agreeing to have a cadence of multiple debates. And based on the division in this country and based on the polls at that time, that was the make or break debate. And former President Trump understood the assignment. He showed up. He left the stage. The optics alone, let's not even talk about the debate. Let's talk about when he was leaving the stage. Visibly was struggling walking off the stage.
Right.
Dr. Jill Biden, our First Lady, had to help him walk down 3 steps. And then subsequently you have him referring to the Vice President, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, as Vice President Trump.
It was bad. And then they edited the transcript. The transcript they sent out to the media the next day, they had actually corrected the transcript in the official White House transcript that we all received. I'm on that email list. I was stunned because we all knew what he had said. He had referred to her as Vice President Trump, and they sent out the transcript, and they had literally changed it to he said Vice President Harris.
Wow.
Jake Tapper, the moderator of the presidential debate, George Stephanopoulos of ABC News, they have all publicly said when they literally were like less than 2 feet having a one-on-one, non-scripted, non-edited live conversation that they were very concerned about how President Biden showed up. So again, this is a clear reminder that when your gut tells you this is not looking good, the Democratic Party, after that presidential debate, should have already started, because now it's I'm not going to say it's too late, John and Dr. Ken, but it's too late.
It pretty much is.
It's too late.
And we're going to take a break. It is 7:31. There's a musical interlude right now over at Fiserv Forum. Tucker Carlson takes to the stage after that. Hulk Hogan is still on deck. Kid Rock is still on deck. Eric Trump, and, of course, former President Donald Trump, former President Trump, will take the podium later tonight. You're listening to continuing coverage on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, my son's teacher emailed his back-to-school list. He needs crayons and a comp book for every subject. Okay, no problem. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school. Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue. You got it. And markers? Of course. Oh, geez. Can we get a cart, please?
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each at Staples. Ends 8/24, in-store only, limit 30.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself, or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Does your home need a new defensive coach? Have wind, cold, or water breached? I recommend Siding Unlimited. Wind and cold get through your windows? Siding Unlimited fixes that. Water challenging your roof? Siding Unlimited fixes that too. Is the siding letting the elements through or just looking offensive? Fixing that is Siding Unlimited's first and continuing specialty. When weather's offense beats your home's defense, contact Siding Unlimited. Their name says siding, but they are so much more. Whatever the breach, put Siding Unlimited in. Their good work is on display at their unique outside-in showroom. They're waiting for you. What are you waiting for? SidingUnlimited.com.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
Impact 2024. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. John McCure is making his way over to the Fiserv Forum, and I'm here now with the illustrious Denise Thomas, and Tully Hughes has joined the fray.
It almost looked like you had to look at like my name tag or something to see who I was.
We're broadcasting live from 1017 The Truth and 620 WTMJ.
There was some truth to that.
There's another guy here. I'm trying to hear the voice. Where's it coming from? Telly.
Oh, yes.
No, it's great to have you here this evening.
It's good to be here.
So you've been here all week. By the way, both of you, great interview this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With Eric Trump. And it seems, as we look, Tucker Carlson is now on the podium, and he's speaking. I find it kind of odd. He hasn't been on Fox News in, I don't know, 2-3 years because of issues and being fired. And
he's been compensated, though.
And he's been compensated very well.
Yes.
He's also not been able to be on to do any broadcasting because of his contract. Is that something we could probably use with a certain president that seems to have worn out his welcome? And now everyone sees it, This is going to be a monumental speech at 9 o'clock by former President Donald Trump. We talked about the debate. We talked about the assassination attempt. We talked about people who called in, and I don't know if you got it on your show, but 620 got it, and 1017 The Truth, where people said, nope, it's not real. It's all made up. I said, the number of people you would have needed to put together and not say anything about a fake assassination attempt, that would be pretty masterful. But yet I heard it. I literally heard it from people. And at first, I'll be honest, I thought it was like, maybe a piece of glass broke or something.
I think there's always going to be conspiracy theorists out there that is always going to look at, well, they could have did this, they could have done that, and maybe they did plot it all together where somebody had to take one for the team. And I will tell you this, and I was just talking to Kyle about this, and it is amazing how little they are talking about this alleged assassin was a registered Republican.
Right.
Now, if this was a Democrat, do you know that would be everything they're talking about tonight? That would be the speech. They tried to take me out in the courtrooms, and now they tried to take my life.
The Democrats brought up that he was a registered Republican. And they also brought up that he paid $15 to the Democratic Party as well.
Yeah, but you're not, to Telly's point.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And had he been a Democrat, then it would have flipped and all this, oh, my God. It's just like
the witch hunts would have continued.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
The problem is nobody knows why this guy did it. Nobody has any idea.
As of now.
Now, you and I both know that they would have leaked. Police departments are sieves in terms of information. There is nothing sacred. Pictures, investigations, and now you get this thing where he gets shot and you have his phone. You have pictures of him beforehand, scoping out the place. You have
video of him
with a gun, without a gun, on the roof, not on the roof, but you check everything and you get nothing.
And now, all of a sudden, he was on a watch list. He was one that was a person of interest. But, again, you see video that has come out, and people have recorded him getting on the roof saying, hey, there's someone on the roof. He has a gun.
Yeah.
And how could you get all of this video? And when we have been walking down the street all week long, you can't go 5 steps without seeing Secret Service.
You know what I find interesting is that as we are here covering the 2024 Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we're talking about the lack thereof or the information that has been reported as more and more developments come to life regarding the attempted assassination. I feel the same way about the Democratic Party. I thought about that this morning. I said, the Democratic Party has misled the American voters, especially those that are registered Democrats and have voted traditionally as Democrats, because you knew President Biden, and I'm just going to say it like I would say it to my children when I tell them to do something and they don't do it. Didn't I tell you? You knew you ain't had no business debating when you knew you weren't in the mental capacity to do that. And the Democratic Party has camouflaged President Biden in so many levels, in so many ways. And to now, you are going to have a number of traditionally registered voting Democrats who are going to go into that poll on November 5th angry.
Yeah.
Because you lied.
Yeah.
You misled. You miscommunicated. You've had so many opportunities to just be transparent and say, look, we know that during the primaries in the spring this year, President Joe Biden was the choice of the American Democrats, or whoever voted during that primary.
Right.
But since then, some things have happened, and we want to position this country for the best leader.
Yes.
Based on national security, fair, affordable health care, being able, as alluded to earlier, groceries. And the Democratic Party, they did not do that.
Yeah.
And so I think as Americans, we both sides, Republicans and Democrats, should be concerned, not just regarding the attempted assassination with President Trump in terms of the Secret Service, but also the communication between both the White House and Biden's campaign. Because that's why we right now are at the drawing board, and it's too late. They're going to have to start planning for 2028, because 2024, it's over.
And we'll be talking about that and more when we come back. We're going to go to Greg Matzik up in the rafters of the Fiserv Forum. I want to hear a little bit about the speech. Like, he has a copy of the speech, and I want to know some generalities about it. What's going on and what they're talking about. Denise Thomas, Tully Hughes, I'm Dr. Ken Harris. You're listening to Impact 2024 Inside the RNC on 101.7 The Truth and 620 WTMJ. We'll be right back.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
Solving your breathing triangle problem can lead to better sleep and a better quality of life. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Celebrate 42 years of tradition at Milwaukee's original house party. Join us on Milwaukee's beautiful lakefront, July 26th, 27th, and 28th for authentic German food, music, beer, and dancing. Experience the excitement of the Glockenspiel, Dachshund-Derby, Culture Village, Mardi Gras Show, Trauchenschau, Sheep's Head Tournament, and much more. For more information, tickets, and admission discounts, visit GermanFest.com. Don't miss the fun. See you at GermanFest.
This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you have over 20 HVAC techs working with you that each have over 20 years of experience, it gives you confidence to be able to go out there and talk reliability, integrity, value, all the things that matter when you hire someone to get the job done right the first time. These words mean everything to us, and we know they mean a lot to you. And that's what you'll get when you hire the man in the red van.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Now's when the summer heat is working your AC system into overtime. And after this long, it may be on borrowed time. But some of these systems really can't last, especially Armstrong Air Pro Series systems. When your AC system says its final goodbye, think of the man in the red van and the over 60 years of experience that Quality Heating brings to your home. To get your new Armstrong Air Pro Series AC system installed right and right away.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Tune in on Sundays at 10 a.m. for the AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show. Join AccuNet's Brian and David Wickert for the most up-to-date information on mortgage trends, along with timely news on the real estate market. The housing market is in flux, but the national headlines don't often fit local market conditions. Find out what's really happening on the front lines of real estate and mortgage financing in Wisconsin and make better decisions by tuning in every Sunday at 10 a.m. The AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show with Brian and David Wickert on WTMJ.
You're listening to Impact 2024, Inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. You are listening to Impact 2024. I'm here with Denise Thomas because I wouldn't dare say Telly Hughes first because, she'll give me that look.
What look is that, Dr. Ken?
That one. We're live on 620 WTMJ and 1017 The Truth in the Fiserv Forum. We've got Greg Matzik. So, Greg, I'm interested in knowing, do we have any insight on really what former President Trump is going to really be talking about in his speech tonight?
Yeah, I think a lot of the discussion today, Dr. Ken, was this idea of rallying everybody in America, trying to unify, and that's how this convention really started. In between, there was some hammering of Joe Biden's policies, the administration, and those who do lean to the left and support the Democratic parties. But it seems like it started soft, and I think it's going to end with this message of unity. Now, sources tell me here that with the knowledge of what the speech is going to look and sound like, Trump will detail the events of Saturday night from his point of view. There will be special mention of the gentleman who was killed as a result of the assassination attempt and 2 others who were severely wounded. There will also, in his speech tonight, be a special shout-out to Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin for hosting an outstanding convention. Just a couple of the things that I think we can expect to hear tonight. But along with it, this overwhelming sense of gratitude for those who rushed to his aid, his ability to even take the stage tonight as a presidential candidate, and what it means to move forward to lead all of America versus half of America. In other words, uniting those who are on the other side and trying to bring everybody in America together. That is going to be the crux of Donald Trump's speech tonight. Gratitude, unity, detailing the events of Saturday night from his point of view.
Greg, so it sounds like he will not touch on any sort of policies or things that he's going to be running on, but this is a total shift in his campaign all the way up to the fact that he ripped up his original speech to write this one tonight, one that we have never heard him say or speak on before. What insight did you get in terms of how this speech was prepared? Because, again, we have never heard a speech from Donald J. Trump speaking on unity in this country.
Well, a good portion of this speech, Telly, as I'm understanding it, is going to be from the events of Saturday night. So if you talk about that detail alone and everything from his point of view, boy, that takes up a good chunk of the early portion of this speech. And that in itself was a life-changing event. But I don't know if prior to Saturday, if he had messages of discord and division in society, and for that to be healed, and the idea of, as Americans, we're bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny, rising together or falling apart together. Right? I don't know if any of that was in the original speech, but I do believe that's the theme and the tone of what you're going to hear tonight. And the events of Saturday night are fueling that. So he's going to spend a good chunk of time. I would say the first 5 minutes or so, you're going to hear a lot about what happened on Saturday night. And I'm also told to expect a moment of silence for the gentleman who was killed as a result of the assassination attempt from Saturday, Corey Comparatori.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Greg. We appreciate it. That's Greg Matzik live from the Fiserv Forum. I'm here with Denise Thomas, Telly Hughes. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. And we'll be right back. We're live from the RNC, Impact 2024. We'll be right back.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for 2, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 6-pack 0.5-liter bottle or 7.5-ounce mini cans selected varieties Coke products, 4 for $17. 48 ounces selected varieties Cedar Crust ice cream, $3.99. 4 to 12 count or 16-ounce selected varieties Halo Top ice cream or bars, $3.99. 45-ounce tub Imperial spread, $3.99.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take the mound at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
You know this already. Inflation is sticky. You see it on the news. You feel it at the grocery store. It's the involuntary pay cut no one wants and that we can't seem to shake. Annex Wealth Management wants to help. Now is the time to download 7 strategies you can use in an environment with elevated inflation. Learn how real assets can help, which tax-efficient strategies to consider, and one way to increase Social Security benefits. It's a free download and available now. Go to annexwealth.com/inflation.
It's Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Rewards Member Appreciation Event. While we offer unbeatable deals every day, now through July 31st, we're showing extra appreciation to our rewards members with exclusive deals. Like 40-pound bags of Blaine's Black Oil Sunflower Seeds, $17.99. Rewards members save an extra $2. Select oil filters, 15% off for rewards members, and 15% reward savings on all Blazer trailer lighting. Not a rewards member? Sign up today. Don't miss our rewards member appreciation event going on now at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Had a devastating knee injury, tore my ACL, tore my PCL, shredded my medial meniscus, and had an initial surgery. That really didn't hold. Had another follow-up surgery around 8 years later. That didn't work, and I didn't want to undergo another surgical procedure.
Enough with the surgeries. They didn't ease the pain, and recovery was brutal. Carmen heard about another treatment for pain relief, the non-invasive regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
I simply figured, heck, I'm going to pick up the phone and call QC Kinetics, and since I've been treated, my quality of life has dramatically gotten better, and I can't thank QC Kinetics enough.
These are the nation's leaders in regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics uses the body's own healing components to help provide relief and functionality.
10 months ago, I had difficulty walking up and down a flight of steps. Now I can do just about anything I desire. I'm back to the old me.
If you have joint pain, before you consider surgery, call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
You're listening to Impact 2024, inside the RNC on WTMJ.
I'm Dr. Ken Harris. I'm here with Telly Hughes, Denise Thomas. We'll be ending this on 620 WTMJ, but hey, never fear. You can flip right over to 1017 The Truth, or you can hit us on YouTube. We will be right here going till 9 o'clock, and then we'll be hearing from President, but what do I want to call him? Former president? Will he soon be president?
Well, in all seriousness, because we've had a lot of back and forth, it depends. It's a formal title. So once you have been elected president,
you're president.
You're president.
Right.
In certain situations, so like as we are reporting from the
to
Republican,
differentiate between the current sitting
exactly.
president. Okay.
But if he were to walk up to this booth right now and sit down for an interview, we would regard him as President Trump.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
especially if he gives an interview.
Hang out with her.
You know, I got a little brain up here. It comes out every now and again.
But I think it's important for us to recognize this is a monumental occasion for the city of Milwaukee.
Oh, my goodness.
We were supposed to have the DNC here years ago, and they decided not to come and had a little small gathering. And now we get to see the power. I wonder, though, I've been hearing rumblings that businesses were not necessarily happy with the perceived, I don't know if promise is the right word, but the perceived business bump they were supposed to get and what actually happened.
Yeah, and you can see why that was a concern, especially when you see how downtown has been barricaded.
Yes.
And if you're not inside the zone, it is really tough for you and patrons to get to your establishment. So I can see why they would have some sort of gripe about how their business is being affected. But if you planned ahead, I'm sure the people that got their businesses rented out and reserved out, they're not complaining.
That's a great point.
They're not complaining at all.
The Capitol Grill on the corner of Wisconsin and
across from the Baird
right
Center.
Here,
yes.
in Wisconsin.
I was walking. I said, "Oh man, they're closed. They must have lost it." I was like, "No, they got a real nice chunk of change."
Yes.
And on my way here, Telly and Dr. Ken, I recorded footage. There was a major peaceful but major protest in recognition of Devontae Mitchell's death.
I saw that on the news.
Yeah, so I actually literally walked by, video recorded it. I'll play it for y'all during our next break. But, you know, the thing is that this week overall has been peaceful. Regardless of how you feel what party you affiliate yourself with as a voter. And I want to give a huge kudos to Milwaukeeans because this was very disruptive for us. And, you know, this is a very traditional, somewhat conservative town or city in terms of, you know, we don't, since I would say the past 10 years, we have not had as many national conventions, national championships, world championships as we've had in the past. And so Milwaukee is for once in a while was on the map this week for something that was not negative.
Yeah, and it was, and it showed a real positive light. They showed another side of Milwaukee that a lot of people outside of Wisconsin don't get a chance to see. You're right. Most of the time when Wisconsin and Milwaukee make the national news, it's not for a good reason. And for Milwaukee to be, the center of the political universe for this entire week, and for Milwaukee to show the side and the safety and how things have gone off without a hitch. I mean, because you got to think, even the shooting took place well outside of the zone, well outside of downtown. So when it comes to securing the RNC downtown Milwaukee, I think that Milwaukee has shown an extremely good side of what the city has to offer.
Absolutely. And as I was randomly speaking with attendees that are registered Republicans that are here for the convention, you know, I would ask them, you know, how do you feel about Milwaukee? And not one person had a negative thing to say. They said Milwaukee's a beautiful city. We didn't really know much about Milwaukee outside of the Green Bay Packers and the Milwaukee Bucks, but this is definitely a city that we plan to return to and visit. So again, kudos to Milwaukee. We showed up, we were welcoming,
and we showed out.
And we how did we show out, Dr. Ken?
We showed out. I think it was great because you saw it. First of all, Third Street Market, I was okay, and I was kind of worried, like, you know, where's all the people? And then so I went in and did what I did in the radio station. I said, well, I guess it's time for me to walk over. And I opened the door and I went, where do these people come from? I mean, it was wall to wall people.
Even if it wasn't, you know what the Third Street Market Hall served as this week? The cafeteria for the police officers, Secret Service,
yes, it did.
FBI agents. I mean, they were. That is where they went to. That was their central grounds for dining this week. And so, again, Milwaukee, we got some money coming in. Now, my only question is, what black businesses benefited from that? We got to take a break.
Absolutely. And I think it went great. I think that being on 620 WTMJ and 1017 The Truth, we had a great time. We'll be flipping over to 1017 The Truth, so we're not ending. 620 will go on. At 9 o'clock, we will have the Trump speech coming up right here on 1017 The Truth. So you're listening to Impact 2024 inside the RNC. She's Denise Thomas. I think that guy's name is Telly Hughes. I'm jealous. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be back.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Get sale discounts store-wide all month long. What a great time to shop for all of your Christmas needs. Get your holiday decor and so much more, along with all the great bargains we always have for you. It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Dr. Michael Nolte. Expertscape recently named him part of the top 1% of spine expertise in the world. Dr. Nolte has published over 50 peer-reviewed articles in leading scientific journals and authored more than 100 national presentations. They added this MVP specialist for orthopedic, neurosurgical, and spine care because at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
In this seller's market, even homeowners are trying to sell their own home. But more times than not, it doesn't work out like they'd hoped. And while homes like theirs are selling, and selling fast for over asking prices, their homes aren't. So what's your next best strategy? Well, if you're looking to relieve yourself of the stress of selling your own home and still get top dollar while getting the full service benefits that an experienced realtor can give you, then look no further. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where 3.5 to 3.9% commission assures that you pay less for full service. Only 11% of those trying to sell their own homes actually succeed. And of those that do sell their own home, they sell on average for 26% less than agented properties. This often negates the savings they were hoping to get by doing it on their own. So why do it on your own when you have an experienced realtor that will give you full service at only 3.5 to 3.9% commission? Don't let your home sit while others are selling faster and at potentially better than asking prices. Call Benefit Realty for a highly experienced agent, and you'll pay less for full service.
The Republican National Convention is officially here in Milwaukee. Keep it tuned here for the most in-depth coverage of every angle of the RNC. This is Decision Wisconsin, presented by Pasternak and Zergabel. We are your central hub for all things RNC. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 8 o'clock, it's 70 degrees. Tonight, mainly clear skies, a low of 61. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Jessica Gatzo. Former President Trump's nomination acceptance speech will conclude this final day of the RNC in Milwaukee tonight.
According to Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, the tone of Trump's initial speech has been altered in the wake of Saturday's assassination attempt.
He's laying aside what he said was a barn burner speech. He's laying that aside. He's going to offer a speech of unity.
Johnson hopes the Trump he knows is reflected in his words.
If you spend time with President Trump, you cannot not like him. He's so gracious. He's funny. I hope he shows that. No bombast, just, listen, this is a somber moment. Our nation is in peril. It is being torn by division. This can't go on.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Only 1 hour to go until Trump takes the stage. WTMJ's Eric Bilstad is live at Fiserv Forum as we speak.
Jessica, it is a festive atmosphere here at Fiserv. The arena nearly full with latecomers trickling in still. Now the floor is packed, and it's easy still to identify the Wisconsin delegation. They're wearing the foam cheeseheads tonight, so they stick out a little bit. Now, former President Trump, like you said, is expected to speak in about an hour, but we'll see if that happens, to see if they're on time here. Still plenty of other speakers to go who have yet to, including Eric Trump, his son, also former wrestler Hulk Hogan, and a performance from Kid Rock is also expected tonight. Now, the former president was in the House for a bit. He was introduced to the crowd about an hour ago, took to the presidential suite. He sat next to Jason Aldean and his wife. He's the country star who's going to be performing at the farewell party later tonight. As for the speech itself, he's expected to address the retired fire chief who was killed in that assassination attempt. Live at the Republican National Convention at Fiserv Forum, Eric Bilstad, WTMJ News.
New details are emerging about the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Here's CBS News correspondent Meg Oliver with the details.
Crooks started setting off alarm bells at least half an hour before the assassination attempt, when local police reported a suspicious person near the building. A local tactical sniper inside a neighboring building spotted him from a second-floor window. Crooks then pulled out a rangefinder, and the sniper alerted his team. The shooter then climbed an air conditioning unit onto the building near the sniper's position.
Crooks's father also had contacted police on Saturday, saying his son was missing and he was concerned about his whereabouts. The 20-year-old was killed by a Secret Service sniper after Crooks killed one person and wounded Trump and two others. Conservative news host Lou Dobbs has died. Here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Lou Dobbs was the longtime host of Lou Dobbs Tonight.
Joining me now to sort this out for us.
Most recently for a decade on Fox Business Network, and before that for decades on CNN, starting with the news channel at its inception in 1980. Dobbs' death was first reported by former President Donald Trump on Truth Social, Trump writing that Dobbs was a friend and truly incredible journalist, reporter, and talent. Dobbs just interviewed Trump on a live stream a few weeks ago. Lou Dobbs is survived by his wife and 4 children. He was 78. Jason Nathanson, ABC News.
A school bus crash in Racine injures 11 people, including 10 children. It happened around 12:15 this afternoon at the intersection of Sunnyside Drive and Church Road in the town of Dover. Happened between the school bus and a minivan. 46 children and 5 adults were aboard the school bus on the way to a summer camp roller skating event. 10 children and 1 adult were taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. 1 adult driver and 3 children were in the minivan. They declined further medical treatment. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 8:04.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala. Nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, This is Bob Prosser, owner of Ishnala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ishnala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Well, if you need flagstone for your new natural patio, Erickson's is the place to find it. We have the largest selection and 15 styles to choose from. And for decorative stone, Erickson's is your best choice. Our decorative stone is trucked in from all over the country. We buy straight from the quarry and cut out the middleman to keep your prices nice and low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. So he said to me, "Boy, oh boy, do you got the boulders." And I said, "You betcha." And he said, "Do you mind if I cherry pick?" And I said, "Feel free. They're all beautiful and they're all granite. Sparkling pinks, blues, and grays from 4 to 36 inches. And they're all priced right because we buy direct from the source nationwide to give you the look you want. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers begin the second half of their season on Saturday night. The team squares off against the Twins for the first of 2 games at Target Field. Taking a look at the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Roads are looking mostly clear this evening. No major incidents or delays. Just one disabled vehicle to look out for on the exit to Moreland Road South. That's from 94 West. And taking a look at your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight we have mostly clear skies, a low of 61. On Friday, all sunshine, a high of 78. Saturday, mostly sunny again, a high of 81. On Sunday, partly cloudy and a little humid. We've got a slight chance for showers or storms, a high of 82. Monday, still partly cloudy and humid. Another chance for showers and storms, a high of 80. Right now in Madison, it's 73 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 75. In Waukesha, it's 72, and in Milwaukee, it's 70 degrees. I'm Jessica Gatzo, Siding Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 8:07.
Good evening, Wisconsin. It's time for the best of the Political Power Hour, RNC edition. Recapping today's conversations at the RNC, here's Steve Scafidi.
Day 4 RNC Panther Arena in Milwaukee. Welcome to all those folks listening on traditional radio and everywhere else, the stream, YouTube, and podcasting eventually. Always appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. We're going to be all over the place today because I wanted to sort of frame my 4 days at the RNC with a both sides debates. Now, if you listen to the show, you know that's what we try to do every day with guests from both sides, elected officials representing both major parties in this country, and punditry and strategists that all sort of have a different perspective. And we're going to approach the show today with that same approach. Let's go to Minnesota. And we're talking to the governor of the great state of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Good morning, Governor.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I'm out at your beautiful airport here in Milwaukee on a beautiful Wisconsin day, so glad to be over here.
We brought out the welcome mat for you. So I got to ask you, Democratic governor coming to the RNC in Milwaukee. Walk me through that process. What's that about?
Well, look, I've served under both these presidents, and as a governor, you've got to do public health, you got to deliver roads, bridges, things like that, and I think there's just a clear contrast, whether it be the Infrastructure Act or whether it be how COVID was handled. I think there's a big difference, and governors, in many cases, are much more localized. They have to deliver the results. So I'm over here to kind of make the case that this administration has been able to deliver. We're able to move us out of a potential recession. But I think what many of us are seeing, up north, Governor Evers and I were up there when we're going to redo the Blackneck Bridge connecting Superior and Duluth. Those things matter, and that's the choice that's coming.
Is that President Biden's? That's one of his biggest ticket items when it comes to selling himself for a second term. Is projects like that, all the infrastructure money.
Yeah. I do. I think it's a big deal. But look, I recognize people say, "What have you done for me lately?" I think that is a big piece of it. I think that impacts people. I think job creation is there. I think resourcing chip manufacturing back. You're seeing a lot of that in Wisconsin, moving towards a more sustainable energy future, and then the issues that people care about, the personal freedoms to make your own healthcare decisions, make your own choices in life. Those are the things that I think also matter. And looking towards a future where we're more united, we're more, visionary looking, because I have to tell you, it's pretty negative over here. It's just a lot of trying to figure out how to divide us. I don't mean Wisconsin. I mean the RNC. It's just kind of demonizing folks that are our neighbors in many cases. So I think he needs to talk about the things we've done. This infrastructure matters to people. Job creations matter. But those personal freedoms things. I think if you'd have gathered at a Republican convention 20 years ago, you'd heard a lot about freedom, and it had been true. I don't necessarily know if I'm seeing that now.
Let's talk about the ticket. Donald Trump, now we know it's J.D. Vance as vice president. What does that ticket selection of J.D. Vance say to you?
Well, that they don't care about reproductive rights, clearly. J.D. Vance is the most extremist member of the Senate. And look, I take this personally on this. J.D. Vance voted against and tried to restrict IVF and other reproductives for in vitro fertilization. My wife and I used reproductive services to have our children. That was our choice. I certainly wouldn't want a J.D. Vance making that choice. And I think it makes the case that that America doesn't value our allegiances. J.D. Vance is the most anti-NATO, most anti-allied congressman we've seen. He served some time in the Marine Corps, and I thank him for that. I myself did 24 years. But I learned something. I worked on NATO missions. I was with these people, and we need them, and they need us. So I think now that they're doubling down on an agenda that Donald Trump has made clear about, that the wealthy are going to get their tax cuts. Those that don't look like everybody else are going to be demonized a bit. We're not going to celebrate our diversity. We're going to demonize that. So I think this ticket just doubled down on that. This is just a little bit younger chronological in age, although J.D. Vance and Donald Trump's policies are about 100 years old. So I think that's what you're going to get.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz joining us on the phone. All right, so your choice for president, current incumbent in the White House in the Oval Office, is Joe Biden. Very poor performance at the debates. What can Joe Biden do from a Democrat's perspective to close the deal with American voters?
Yeah, and I don't think you dodge that. I've had bad debates too, but you need to go back out and tell people what you're going to do. I think he needs to show that he's capable of doing the job. And look, that's his responsibility. But I think also some of us can talk about this. And I'm sure his team didn't like this, but the day before that horrific debate, I was on the phone with him for about 20 minutes or so, and the FEMA folks talking about the flood recovery. That was the day, if you remember, where the Rapidan Dam, about 6 miles up the Blue Earth River from my house, was looking to fail. We had massive flooding. The president himself's on the phone making sure we're getting things, talking to FEMA 5 region directors on there. So he's doing the job as president. I think for us to convey that he was clearly engaged in this, he knew what was going on, he knew what was happening. Because, look, people can't unsee what they felt like. But, look, this guy's a little older. He said that. Never was a super eloquent speaker, but he was a passionate speaker, and he knew the issues. And we've seen him in press conferences after NATO, a command of foreign policy like no one else. Donald Trump's command of foreign policy is a shakedown to our allies who fought with the beaches on Normandy with us. Now all of a sudden we want to charge them for protection. Yeah, it's no concept of how this works together. So I think it's incumbent upon the president and supporters like myself to go make that case and to show people because the choice is going to be stark and the direction the country goes is going to be critical. And I hope we don't just make it on because he fumbled a word or something. I hope it's in the results.
As a Democrat, do you find yourself watching most of the RNC coverage?
I try to watch. I will be candid with you. It's a bit painful to me because when I keep coming in, it's not the America that I see. It feels like they're rooting for failure, that they're telling you it's just as horrible. Donald Trump said it. I don't like Milwaukee. It's a horrible city. None of that's true. It's a fantastic, vibrant city with a great history, and we're all here enjoying it. It's that type of thing that you got to tell people to be afraid. You got to tell people that I'm the only guy who can protect you. So that it's just It's not the reality, and it feels to me very un-American. We are hopeful, optimistic, and strong people. So quit telling them that the sky's falling in when they know it's not. Look, it's a challenge. Every country went through this after COVID. Climate change is real and these weather patterns. So let's get together and solve it and quit making, a fellow American the enemy. I love this country as much as everybody else. I may be wrong on policies and things, which is fair to debate, but I certainly love it. And I think this continuous division, then we end up with these horrific situations where the president's life being in danger, or Paul Pelosi, or my friend Gabby Giffords. This is the type of stuff that I said over here. It just seems very dark. I hope in Chicago you see a much more optimistic vision of the future.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, thanks for taking the time to join us. I know you got a busy day.
Thanks. Yeah, pleasure to speak with you.
All right, after the break, we'll hear one more from the left side of the political aisle. Ben Wickler, chair of the Democratic Party. And then at 9:35, Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany from the northern tier of Wisconsin will join us right here on the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ.
More of the best of the Political Power Hour after this on WTMJ.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
There's a reason why we install Armstrong Air Pro Series systems. When your reputation is on the line, you pick the brand you can trust. It's like our employees. You pick the best to preserve your good name. A guy like me that's been working on furnaces and AC systems for over half my life. I got an eye for the good stuff. And Armstrong Air Pro Series systems fit the bill. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you need a good crew installing a system you can rely on, see the man in the red van.
Quality heating, quality heating.
Emergency service 24/7. Quality Heating has 25 trucks ready to work around the clock to get out there quickly to solve your heating or AC problem. So when that system goes on the fritz and you want to avoid that sweaty summer heat or bypass the fear of frozen feet, the man in the red van can't be beat when it comes to prompt, reliable service. Call Quality Heating for any emergency HVAC need.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. On this week's Here District, Marcus and Chris catch up with Bucks Summer League coach Pete Dominguez. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast. Now, more of the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
All right, we're broadcasting live from the Panther Arena. RNC. Did you know it was in town? Yeah, I did. Milwaukee, center of the political universe. And as I said at the beginning, we're going to give you a left and right perspective on the state of the race, where we are at right now. Joining us, one more on the left side, liberal side, Democratic side, all of that. He's the chairman of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Ben Wickler, good morning, sir.
Mr. Scapini, it's good to be with you today.
Always great to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on. I know I've seen you walking around at the RNC. How does that happen?
I am, here to provide my insights to our friends in the press, and America needs to hear from all points of view in this situation. So. Everyone's been very gracious, at least people who, I'm not sure most of the Republicans know who the Wisconsin Democratic State Chair is. But fundamentally,
don't be so sure of that, my friend. Don't be so sure of that. All right, let me ask you a question. This is the question for Democrats, right? Joe Biden. Is he really ready for 4 more years? Because I just want to give you my take on it. Now he's got COVID. He said, serious issues. The debate was a train wreck, and I think all of us agree on that. Where is the campaign, or probably more importantly, where's the candidate right now when he should be campaigning for the next 4 years? Where is Joe Biden?
Donald Trump got COVID and then went on the debate stage with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has COVID, and he's doing his work from from Delaware while he gets through the period of being infectious. But what we know about Joe Biden is that he's really, really good at being president. And when we see him on the campaign trail, like in Madison, Wisconsin, the week after the debate, North Carolina, the day after the debate was really, really tough. But in North Carolina, Madison, and in Detroit, he's given rip-roaring stump speeches laying out his vision for the next term that got everyone pumping their fists in the air. It is eminently clear that he has a vision for exactly what he wants to do, expanding Social Security and Medicare, signing Roe versus Wade into law, signing the PRO Act for unions. I can go on with the list. And it is so much better than the vision in Project 2025. So elections are a choice between two different futures for the country, and the vision and plan that Joe Biden has demonstrated that he can carry out if he's reelected, that's exactly what Americans want and what I'm fighting for.
Yeah, but Ben, I mean, we understand the ideology and the policy differences. They're clear and they're stark and they're vast. I think all of us who cover politics, talk about politics, work in politics, get that. But ultimately, doesn't it come down to, for the voter who maybe doesn't digest politics like you or I do or others, to a look at a candidate? We see what happened last Saturday. The president survives an assassination attempt, seems to be very vibrant, kicked Joe Biden's you-know-what in the debates, and that's one example. And then we see Joe Biden, who performed horribly in that debate, has not done well until his presentations, his campaign stump speeches are presented on a teleprompter. I knew Joe Biden. I met with him many times, albeit 10 years ago. This version doesn't seem to be the Joe Biden that I knew 10 years ago.
I think the biggest quality in a leader is judgment. The second one is related, and it's character. And I don't know anyone who thinks that either of those things has slipped even an iota in Joe Biden. Yeah, obviously, he doesn't walk like he used to. He mixes up words more than he used to. Those things are true, and they don't affect the actual thing that we rely on our president to do, which is to have a cool head in times of crisis, which we're in one of those right now, and to make the right call to steer the nation in the right direction. He's so good at that. And I think about the moment when Israel struck a target in Iran, and Iran responded with a flood of missiles. Biden was in the Situation Room for like 4.5 hours on the phone with military leaders and with foreign leaders across the world, and he was able to help engineer a way that played out that prevented what could have been a catastrophic war. And the number of things like that are happening in front of the scenes and behind the scenes all the time, it's startlingly effective to see, and we know that Donald Trump would completely whiff in moments like that. We saw how he whiffed when the biggest crisis of the last decade came through, which is the COVID pandemic. It was a complete flaming disaster and train wreck. And that's, I want to have a president in the White House who I can sleep easy knowing that they're going to make the right call when the moment comes.
Ben Wickler, chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, joining us on 620 WTMJ live from the RNC. I've asked this question of almost every guest I've had this week. Today, not the entire campaign, but today, what is the biggest issue to Wisconsin voters? What is it? Is it the economy, their budget, border policy, crime? What is it?
Well, there's the question. There's what is the issue that people are thinking about in that particular moment. And right now, I think people are thinking about the Republicans because we're in the Republican National Convention. Then there's the question of what is the thing that will define your vote? What is the line that you won't cross? The number one issue is still, even though it hasn't been mentioned once, I think strategically from the stage at the Republican National Convention, is the question of whether politicians should get to make people's most personal medical decisions, like around abortion and around IVF and around emergency contraception, or whether it should be the actual people involved who make those decisions. And I was knocking on the doors of undecided voters this past weekend, and they had this and that quarrel with the president, and then they got angry when they thought about Trump and Republican politicians making decisions in their personal lives. It was pretty basic. And there's probably about a third of the voters say that they simply, no matter what else comes up, they will not vote for someone who's on the other side of their views on this. There's a Gallup national poll on this that is public that found 3-to-1 single-issue voters around abortion are people who think it should be left up to women, to the families, to the people who get pregnant, and not to politicians. And 1 in 4 are people who think we should have abortion bans, like J.D. Vance has advocated repeatedly. I still think that is the most critical issue.
Last question. are you confident that a week from now, Joe Biden will be the candidate for Democrats? Because there's a lot of people that are jumping ship. Adam Schiff was one of the most recently is concerned, and you and I both know the other names. Are you confident that Joe Biden will be the nominee next week?
I am. President Biden has built towards this moment his whole life, and it's been a long life with lots of huge challenges that he's overcome and adversity he's overcome, and he knows that he can do this job. And I'm confident that next week maybe we'll be having another version of this conversation, but this is someone who is in this to win this.
Ben Wickler, Chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, always welcome on the show. Always appreciate your willingness to talk to our audience. Thanks, Ben.
Really grateful for the chance to join you, and holy smokes, Project 2025 has become the vice president nominee of the Republican Party, so I hope folks look that up.
All right, we'll take a break here for local and national news. I'll be back a little bit before that to talk about my next guest, who is in the wings as we speak. We're listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ.
More of the best of the Political Power Hour after this on WTMJ. The Political Power Hour with Steve Scafidi.
If it's good law, it stands the test of time. That's the process. There's nothing that's absolute about politics.
Hearing from political experts from across Wisconsin and beyond.
They should have never done that debate last night.
Trump lied more than 50 times throughout the night. I'm looking at a memo from the Biden campaign, their dial groups.
Oh, so we can trust everything in that memo?
Weekdays from 9 to 10 on WTMJ.
I was stuffed up. It was almost like someone put a clothespin over my nose. As an athlete, it did affect my performance. And as I got older, the congestion and poor sleep really took their toll.
Mike's a lifetime athlete. After hearing about Advent, he felt he could finally find a solution to his breathing triangle problems.
With my congestion, the kind of sleep I was getting wasn't allowing me to function the way I wanted to.
When your nose isn't working like it should be, it's going to negatively affect your sleep. And then you really can't be at your best at anything that you're doing.
It's been about 5 years since coming to Advent, and what balloon sinuplasty did for my quality of life, that step I took was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Balloon sinuplasty can help solve your breathing triangle problems, which will help you sleep better. And that's going to help you live a better quality of life.
Unlock your potential. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group. I have a question for you business owners. Does your CPA help you plan for your future, or just tell you how you did? We just helped a manufacturing client triple their space by working with a bank we know. Their bank wouldn't help, so we contacted a banker we work with who said yes, with very favorable terms. We're also working with a Milwaukee area restaurant to pass ownership between generations and expand the restaurant. They will be able to add more tables and update their equipment using a combination of bank and government financing, again on favorable terms. When their bank said no, we found one who said yes. This is what we do at the Neal Group. We are advocates and partners with our clients to help them grow, not just record history. What about you? Do you want to grow your business, improve cash flow, have less stress, and live a better life? We can help. Visit nealgroup.net to book a meeting to tell us your story and see if we can help. The first meeting is free. Don't wait, do it now. That's nealgroup.net.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers. Now, more of the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
We are broadcasting live from the RNC Panther Arena. Things are heating up. Eric Trump was here earlier. And my next guest is here. He's live, because Ben was on the phone, Ben Wickler, Wisconsin Congressman from the northern tier of the state. Tom Tiffany, pleasure as always to see you, my friend.
Steve, it's good to join you.
We've talked on the podcast. We've talked on the show. Mm-hmm. So you've been here since Sunday. Your outlook, and how does this week play out?
It just seems like it's a very well-run convention. But the thing that I've been doing is welcoming people to Wisconsin. You know, this is the birthplace of the Republican Party, 1854, Ripon, Wisconsin.
Yeah. You see the little thing outside?
Yeah. So, and, you know, I'm surprised the number of people are like, oh, really? And so it's good that we're reminding them of that. And so here we are back in 2024, 170 years later.
So, a horrific weekend, and it potentially could have been unbelievably historically, but the president survives an assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. First of all, were you aware of that immediately? How does that work? Because you're an elected official, you're a congressman. Is that something that goes out across the communication channels?
Friends were contacting me immediately. I was working on the honeydew list up in where we live. Up
we
in
all know
Minocqua.
what that is. Yes,
you know, weekends short, honeydew list long.
Right.
But then it was probably 10, 15 minutes after it happened. I finally called a friend who called me a couple times, and so heard about it then, and just praying for people's safety. You know, I think first and foremost, recognition for Corey Compratore, the first responder who was there.
Just a fan of Donald Trump, too.
Died. And that's horrible for their family, really horrible. So, our thoughts, prayers go out for them and the other people that were hurt at that. But, the next question, Steve, is going to be, how did this happen?
What do you think the answer is going to be? Because it's not looking good for the Secret Service or their leadership. And the leader of the Secret Service was here, I believe, yesterday, and she was not answering the tough questions. And there will be tough questions to come.
I don't know why she came here with everything that's so much in flux. So we're getting more answers as we go along, but I don't want to get too far out over my skis commenting about, what we've seen and some of the stuff that we've heard. Let's have full investigation. Let's do it as promptly as possible. But I got to tell you, there's not a lot of trust right now, Steve, with the intelligence agencies when we've seen what the FBI has done over the last few years, and there needs to be a truly independent investigation.
Why is that? Why have we lost faith in our governmental institutions?
I think it goes back to, so I sit on judiciary, so we ask those questions. And by the way, FBI Director Wray is before us next week. You can bet he is going to be questioned in regards to this. It goes back to FBI Director Wray acknowledged to us a number of months ago that they had been surveilling Catholics in a conservative church in Richmond, Virginia. And it turns out this is happening in other...
For what purpose?
Supposedly white supremacists or something like that. These extremely conservative people that could be a threat to America. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's been happening with the FBI. They've lost their mission. In fact, I'd reinforce that. I just sat with an FBI agent when I flew back from D.C. to Minneapolis. I hubbed through Minneapolis and had a really good chat with this guy. He's a rank-and-file guy. He's been there a long time. And he said, our leadership has lost their way. And we hear that from a number of the whistleblowers that are with the FBI. They've lost their way. We have to fix that, Steve, because that's always been a respected law enforcement agency and the intelligence agencies. People in America don't have faith in them.
Real quick before the break, does Donald Trump reestablish that faith if he's elected to a second term?
I think it's going to be one of the number one things that he has to do. And I would agree with it, regardless of who's running for president. Sitting on that Judiciary Committee, the information that we see, it's time for real changes.
Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany joining us at the Panther Arena live from the RNC after the break. The number 2 choice, J.D. Vance, is now official, and he made his comments last night. We'll get his thoughts about that. Tom Tiffany, our guest on the Political Power Hour from the RNC, right here on 620 WTMJ.
More of the best of the Political Power Hour after this on WTMJ.
So he said to me, boy, oh boy, do you got the boulders. And I said, you betcha. And he said, do you mind if I cherry pick? And I said, feel free. They're all beautiful and they're all granite. Sparkling pinks, blues, and grays from 4 to 36 inches. And they're all priced right. Because we buy direct from the source nationwide to give you the look you want. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Well, if you need flagstone for your new natural patio, Erickson's is the place to find it. We have the largest selection and 15 styles to choose from. And for decorative stone, Erickson's is your best choice. Our decorative stone is trucked in from all over the country. We buy straight from the quarry and cut out the middleman to keep your prices nice and low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Now, more of the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
Now, in that cemetery, there are people who were born around the time of the Civil War. And if, as I hope, my wife and I are eventually laid to rest there, and our kids follow us, there will be 7 generations just in that small mountain cemetery plot in eastern Kentucky. 7 generations of people who have fought for this country, who have built this country, who have made things in this country, and who would fight and die to protect this country if they were asked to.
That is Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, Ohio Senator. Tom Tiffany, my guest here, Congressman from Wisconsin. What do you think of the pick?
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. So I think oftentimes the presidential candidates and the common thinking is you do a balancing act on it. No, this was a reinforcement pick for the America First policies that President Trump was putting in place in his first term and certainly would be done in the second term.
One of the things I like about the pick, 39 years old. Like it or not, we have 2 very old candidates for president, and there's a lot that goes with that, and we've talked about it endlessly during this run-up to the November election. I like the fact that we are looking at, from a voter's perspective, at a different generation with the same lens on all the problems, but from a different generation's look at it.
Yeah, it's certainly a passing the torch to a certain extent. I think also this is a pick that emphasizes Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. You're going to see him in these states a lot because there's a lot of people that feel they've been left behind with the globalization over the last 3 to 4 decades, and he is going to speak to that.
What do you expect to hear from the president tonight? He's making his big speech. There's a lot of early noise or communication that's going to be a little more unifying. Is that what you expect?
Yeah, that's the stuff that's being said at this point, is that it's going to be very much a unifying speech. I think you are going to see, not just tonight, but through the rest of this campaign, a different Donald Trump. I mean, when you almost get your head blown off, I think it changes your perspective on the world.
Real quick before I let you go, because I know you got to do another interview, I've asked almost every guest, both sides of the aisle, what is the issue driving this election for voters? And I would argue it's sort of shifted maybe from the economy to fitness to serve, because that's certainly been a conversation in the last week. But is the dollars, budget, family budget, gas and everything else we got to buy, the price gone up, is that the issue that's, do you think, driving this election?
James Carville famously said it's the economy, stupid. It is always the economy, it's inflation, but it's also the border, and I think foreign policy. Your previous guest talked about the strength of Joe Biden in regards to foreign policy. If you heard those Gold Star families in regards to Afghanistan,
one of the most powerful moments I've ever seen on TV. Yeah, I could not turn away.
When Joe Biden said in that debate that no one had lost their lives, no service members lost their lives, and they showed that that is not the truth. Joe Biden's not been strong on the world stage. We need a strong America, peace through strength. Let's get control of inflation. Let's secure the border. And we saw President Trump do that in his first term.
Tom Tiffany, Congressman, Northern Wisconsin. Which areas do you serve at the top of the state so people know?
So draw a line from Florence to Wausau, to Marshfield, to Hudson, and everything north. That's us. 26 counties. I cover 40% of the state.
That's amazing. 40%. I didn't think about it that way.
We love it. It's small-town America. And by the way, it's J.D. Vance's America.
That's right. Yeah, he told that story last night. Always a pleasure to talk to you. We'll do it again down the line. We'll take a break here. Listen, of course, to the Political Power Hour, our RNC coverage. You're listening to 620 WTMJ.
More of the best of the Political Power Hour after this on WTMJ.
This is Brad Youngbooth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. We have two big humps in this business, right before summer and right after fall. And for us, that's when the lines are the longest. Folks usually choose to do their exterior work during those times, and what I'm trying to do here with this message is level out the flow of business so that we don't have to disappoint anyone come November and December because they were hoping to get their work done before the snow flies. I understand where the focus is during summer, but you know what? It really is a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows, because that's when the lines are the shortest, and it's the one time that we're pretty sure we're not going to get any snow. So if you're looking to get your work done, why put it off? The lines are shorter and we'll be ready. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Dr. Ryan Stefanchek. Board certified in sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation, Dr. Stefanchek specializes in non-operative treatment of the spine, chronic pain, all joints, all musculoskeletal problems, and more, emphasizing holistic care first, with a focus on diet, sleep, stress management, and social connections for a patient's well-being. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. You can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Is it time to give your home a new look?
Absolutely.
Get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling has a design team ready to help with all flooring and remodeling needs, including tub to shower conversions. Want to create your dream kitchen, including cabinets? How about the rec room? Adair Floors and Remodeling has been family run in Franklin for over 65 years. For floors and all home remodeling needs, get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin, and online at adairfloors.com.
With an ever-changing inventory, you never know what great bargains you're going to be able to find at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. It makes shopping fun because the best finds are the ones you had no idea you'd even come across. And when they're at thrift store prices, it feels good. And it feels even better to know you're helping us help others. Shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Now, more of the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
You never know who's going to walk up and say hi. I actually saw him a little bit yesterday from, what district are you in again?
6th District.
6th District.
Sheboygan.
Yeah.
Oshkosh, Fond du Lac.
The good part of the state, right?
The best.
Yeah. You could, before we get to the serious stuff, you go to every event in your district. I see you with pictures of you at everything.
Well, we try to get out and about. I think it's important. If you're going to be
Is there anything you won't eat when you go to all these fairs and festivals? And
I won't say the secret things. We have a lot of brats. Brats are always good. Burgers are.
Does anyone ever say in Wisconsin, if you're Wisconsin, you ever say no to a brat? No. The answer to that question is no.
No, absolutely true.
All right, Wisconsin Congressman Glenn Grothman. You've been at the RNC all week?
Yes.
Okay. Your impressions of how this has gone from a elected official?
Couldn't be better. This is the fourth convention that I've at least attended partially. I think it's the best of the four. Nothing but positive comments from people around the country. I think, and Milwaukee's such a great city, and sometimes you forget it because we live here. But people talking about how the architecture is the best they've ever seen. I don't know if I think that's primarily when I think of Milwaukee, but people say, man, you got great architecture here. The lake, of course, is tremendous. We had a party there on Sunday night. And the people are so friendly. That's the other thing he's talking about. Man, you got friendly people in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things I've noticed is above and beyond the politics, this is a party. And the party element has been done wonderfully, masterfully. It looks amazing on TV. I've been in the Fiserv Forum for a number of the big moments. It sounds amazing. I mean, I was talking about the house band in the Fiserv the other night. Like, these guys were rocking it. The delegates are having fun. The elected officials are having fun. But we're here to talk about serious things. And for Republicans, it was the nomination of Donald Trump and now J.D. Vance. So I'm going to ask you about both gentlemen. J.D. Vance first. What do you think of the pick?
I think he gave a great speech last night. As good a speech as you.
What did you like about it?
Well, I liked because he talked about where he was from, and he understands what we have to do to make sure that all Americans succeed under the Trump plan when we get past the Biden economy. He had some great anecdotes about growing up, and of course he wrote a book which was a bestseller.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah, a few years ago. I don't have time to read a lot of books in this job, but I read that book, so it was kind of cool that now he's going to be the vice president. And he was able in his speech, like I said, recount his childhood, which was really in difficult circumstances. His mother had,
addiction issues.
His grandma and grandpa had maybe we'll call it kind of a loud marriage.
Yes.
Loud marriage. So he came out of that to be so wildly successful in the military, academically, and then in the legal field.
What do you think he brings to the ticket that Donald Trump doesn't have, other than age?
Donald Trump is for the average guy. He really is. But there might be some people who think because of his wealth or his upbringing that he's not. So he doubly hammers home that the Republican Party is the party of the average guy. And I think that's what he brings to the table.
President Donald Trump takes the stage tonight. Big moments. I asked your peer, Congressman Tom Tiffany, what the message might sound like. What do you think the president is going to say?
I think it'd be conciliatory, but he's also got to point out the ways in which the Democrat Party, both Joe Biden and the people around him, are really putting the future of America at risk. I mean, we just can't be taking this 200, 300,000 people a month crossing the southern border. We cannot. He had 3 massive bills outside of our regular budget, which is the cause of all this inflation. Young people can't afford a place to live nowadays. And I think those will be the 2 things he'll emphasize. I hope he emphasizes, though, the work ethic and the pride in America, which I think he will.
Do you feel vindicated on the border issue? Because you've been talking about this. As long as I've talked to you, that's been something you've been mentioning.
Well, it's always been horrible. It just keeps getting worse until he finally did a little bit a couple months ago. But, no, it's a major issue. It was a major issue when Donald Trump first took over. But now, I don't really feel vindicated. I feel scared. Every month that many more people come across, it's going to be that much more difficult.
What does the Donald Trump second administration do? What do you think he'll do first on that issue?
Well, I think he's immediately going to go back to where he was, a stay in Mexico policy. When he left office, even before the COVID struck, we were at 5,000 to 10,000 people crossing every month before we got up over 350 at its worst. So I think he'll go back to stay in Mexico, get almost immediately back down to 2,000 or 3,000 people allowed here, and then he's got to find a way to begin to deport some of these people. And once he deports some, we like to believe that a lot of the other people will self-deport.
I got to get your thoughts, and I asked your Congressman Tiffany about this as well. Joe Biden has had a very rough 3 weeks as a candidate. Do you think today at the RNC, day 4, that he will be the candidate that's going up against Donald Trump in November? I don't have that belief anymore.
I don't think so. I mean, he is going to have every Democrat, Bill Clinton, Al Gore, every one of them, Barack Obama, sitting there with him saying, Joe, you got to drop out. I think the polling data for him will be worse than it was a few weeks ago, and it's awful hard to sit in a room and tell 9 or 10 people all no. You got another problem. You got Kamala Harris. And
why is she a problem?
Well, because she'd be such a horrible president. We know she's even to the left of Joe Biden, if that's possible. And she really, let's face it. I think this is underestimated. Joe Biden said, you are in charge of the border. Now, first of all, any of us should be able to identify with that, because sometimes our boss tells us to do something that wouldn't be our first pick.
Right.
But he's our boss, so we do it. So Joe Biden rescued Kamala Harris from the political ash heap, made her the vice president, and said, here, can you fix this problem for me? And Kamala Harris told her boss, go to hell. I'm not going to deal with this.
Didn't even go to the border for a long time.
No. And I don't see how... First of all, that just the lack of loyalty, I don't care where you stand politically, is stunning. And in addition to the lack of loyalty, the fact that she doesn't care about the border, which is the number one issue. So I don't see, once you go through with that, how you can say, we're going to put this woman up front and she's going to be a great candidate.
Last thing, real quick. Is that a bigger issue, or is it the family budget, the price of and the cost of inflation? What do you think? For Wisconsinites.
I think the border, because it's permanently going to change America economically. We've gone through bad inflation before. We're going to get through it again. But this massive number of people coming here is unprecedented in the country's history.
Wisconsin Congressman Glenn Grothman, always great to talk to you. We'll do it again down the road.
Absolutely.
All right. I will be off tomorrow, off on my listener trip, but we'll have the best interviews of the week. And then next week, Tracy Johnson will be filling in for me. This has been the Political Power Hour on 640 WTMJ.
More of the best of the Political Power Hour after this on WTMJ. The biggest names in the basketball world.
Dame Dollar Lillard.
Having fun and honest conversations.
He puts it in the shoe, right? And sets the tone for brothers and sisters and family.
Every week, Thanasis Adetokounmpo sits down with special guests on Thanalysis Show. Presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and curbless, ready-to-drink cocktails.
Fantastic.
Find Thanalysis Show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube by searching Thanalysis Show.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Annex Wealth Management. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
When you want the best medical attention, you don't just go to anybody, you go to a specialist. The same should be true with your car or truck. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. When your vehicle needs service, take it to a specialist, an Adam member new car dealer. Adam dealers use factory warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians specially trained on the advanced technology on your vehicle. They have all the latest manufacturer service bulletins and will know if your issue is covered by an existing warranty or if there are any recalls. And despite what you might assume, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine maintenance and tires. Now, knowing all that, why would you even consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
For great paying job opportunities, visit adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Save big money on all your projects now at Menards. From hitches to ratchet straps and everything in between, we've got all your hauling needs covered. Tow Smart designs and manufactures durable steel towing products that resist rust and corrosion. Save big money on Tow Smart products when you shop at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Now, more of the Political Power Hour on WTMJ.
I want to take a quick moment because Bill mentioned something Steve and I talked about beforehand. The kids who work on these campaigns, not just at the RNC, at the DNC, for the Biden campaign, for the Trump campaign, are almost overwhelmingly, like 85-90% of them are under the age of 30, in my experience. All of you listening should be thinking of all of those young people. They are scared. They don't know what happens next. They are trying to do their best to serve their community and their future and the country they want to live in. So leave the kids alone. Think of them. Send them some positive vibes because these are also scary times. And I hope we're thinking of them as this week unfolds. Here's what I'm watching real quick, and then I'll yield to Bill. Political conventions are an opportunity to tell a story.
Yeah.
Over 4 days. What I'm looking for is what story is this convention going to tell? We have seen versions of Donald Trump, his inaugural address, oftentimes his rhetoric from the podiums, that forgetting about political violence, not any of that stuff, he just paints a pretty dark picture of where we are as a country. And I don't share that view. I see an economy that is doing better than we thought it would at this point. I see at the church festival I was at this weekend and golfing yesterday or being able to afford parking, that things are not as bad as the Republican candidate for president sometimes wants you to believe that they are. Whether that the story they tell can connect with where Americans believe we are as a country is what to watch this week.
So one of my mentors in politics was the late John McIver. He was a senior partner at Michael Best law firm for years and years and years. He was always Tommy Thompson's chairman of his campaigns, all 4 of them, when Tommy was elected governor. John McIver taught me this very important lesson. He said, Bill, define a win. What's a win look like? So for me, what a win looks like this week is Donald Trump bringing the country together. Him leaving the stage on Thursday night and people saying, you know what, he's right. We got to come together. We got to get beyond this toxic politics. It's okay to disagree on policy. That's gonna continue for the rest of our lives. But for me, I talked about it on Friday. I did not want this to be the Festivus convention, the airing of the grievances.
Right.
I'm sad at how we got to that point, but it appears that we are not going to do that, and we're going to talk about the future. And I think, honestly, that's what voters are looking for. I talked to a lot of folks last night who are not Trumpers, who were at this thing at Summerfest, and they said they are all in. He would have been their 5th choice in the primary. They are all in after what happened on Saturday. So I think there was a uniting aspect for Republicans, and my hope is that we leave here a win for me as he begins to unite the country.
Now's when the summer heat is working your AC system into overtime. And after this long, it may be on borrowed time. But some of these systems really can last, especially Armstrong Air Pro Series systems. When your AC system says its final goodbye, think of the man in the red van and the over 60 years of experience that Quality Heating brings to your home. To get your new Armstrong Air Pro Series AC system installed right and right away.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you have over 20 HVAC techs working with you that each have over 20 years of experience, it gives you confidence to be able to go out there and talk reliability, integrity, value, all the things that matter when you hire someone to get the job done right the first time. These words mean everything to us, and we know they mean a lot to you. And that's what you'll get when you hire the man in the red van.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality Heating, Quality Heating.
It's here on consignment from over 10,000 nationwide partners. From very high-end, distinctive furniture, unique antiques and original art, to tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. Premium home decor priced right at 25 to 40% off retail prices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Smart interior designers know that what they'll see here is going to be almost impossible to find anywhere else, especially at our consignment prices. Premium home decor that's gently loved and close to new. And what we carry can raise the wow factor of anyone's home decor. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage. I get that most home shoppers just go with their bank when it comes to getting pre-approved, but that's probably a mistake because banks have a lot of overhead like branches, fancy headquarters, and layers of management. That means their closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 higher than AccuNet's for exactly the same rate. And that's not all. Bank pre-approval letters are usually weak and unconvincing, especially compared to AccuNet's rock-solid, fully verified pre-approval that provides a $2,000 guarantee to you and the seller. Our senior loan consultants will also look at every possible way to strengthen your offer and pre-approval in the eyes of that seller, especially if you're offering over the asking price. We even call the listing agent to reinforce what a great buyer you are. Banks don't do all that.
Click on the blue button today at Accunet.com and let our passionate mortgage pros help you win while you save a bunch of money, too. That's ACCUNET.com.
Wisconsin's Morning News
is long past filtering into the branch of our government that is to be explicitly apolitical.
Listen to Vince Vitrano every weekday starting at 6 a.m.
Talked about this before, the appearance of impropriety. If it looks like the fix is in, then you can't blame people when they argued the fix was in.
Perception becomes reality.
And if we can't have faith in the decisions of our judiciary, we are truly lost.
Only here on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ. While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
TMJ4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson.
We're getting all 4 seasons